This secret we're fighting, we're hurting. Don't be afraid. This secret we're gold shining in the dark. When opposite worlds collide, we know there's nothing but space between us. We will crash under the burning sky. Only when opposite worlds collide. Cut the tightrope we walk on. Watched us falling for so long. We both know it's not too late. Without you, there's no other way. This secret we're fighting, we're hurting. Don't be afraid. This secret we're gold shining in the dark. When opposite worlds collide, we know there's nothing but space between us. We will crash under the burning sky. Only when opposite worlds collide. This secret we're fighting, we're hurting. Don't be afraid. This secret we're gold shining in the dark. When opposite worlds collide, we know there's nothing but space between us. We will crash under the burning sky. Only when opposite worlds collide. When opposite worlds collide, we know there's nothing but space between us. We will crash under the burning sky. Only when opposite worlds collide.
Welcome to Brawlhalla.
everybody, to the Spring Championship 2025. We're here in Southeast Asia. It's me, Sparky878. Joining me here on the desk for the Spring Championship for SEA is Dara. Good morning, Dara. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good. I'm excited to get into some Southeast Asia action, my friends. Welcome on in. Good morning. We had to wake up nice and early. We're here bright and early, and we're here for the Spring Championships. Thank you, Sparky. So, we have some really exciting competition coming up this weekend. We're just basically, right now, we're coming out of max mode, right? We're seeing this sort of new meta that has been established. We're seeing quite a bit of Chakram dominance in recent times. Sparky, what are some of the things that you're expecting going into this weekend and going into this bracket?
You know, that's a good question. It's a big question to see if like SEA, really like anybody in general this weekend, we're gonna see like, are people jumping onto Chakram? Because of course we know the patch schedule. This is played on the same patch that max mode was on, and then in between 1s and 2s we're going on to a new patch that has Chakrams seemingly heavily nerfed. So it'll be a big question mark whether or not people wanted to practice Chakram specifically for 1v1. You and I are privy to a little bit of information right now because you and I can see the lobby. We are seeing already double Chakram coming in, but I believe we have, or at least we can describe the schedule of some of the matches that we have coming up. The first match that we're going to see is going to be Vortex versus Keith the Poo-Poo. That is going to be happening on the winners side for the winners finals. And then we have in the lower semifinals, we're going to have Tiger versus Sphinx. Then of course the bracket is going to move along after that for the rest of our top four. So our top four, just to reiterate for everybody out there, we have Vortex and Keith in the top side of the bracket, the winners finals. And on the bottom side, we have Tiger and Sphinx.
I see. So, we're waiting for them to go ahead and jump on in. We're not actually going to be seeing the double Priya as it turns out. Instead, we will be seeing the Petra coming out from Vortex, as well as the Wushang coming out from Keith. Almost nostalgic to see a Wushang at this point because it's been quite some time. Wushang, definitely some of the play has fallen off a little bit. This is going to be Keith going up against Vortex. Last couple of times that they ended up playing, it was Keith that ended up being the victor, it seems, both at the Winter Championships and at the Spring Championships back in 2023. So, we're getting into this match. Petra and Wushang, both of them Gauntlet legends. Gauntlets losing D-Light so recently, right? So definitely usage has fallen just a little bit, but still at the end of the day, Gauntlets is Gauntlets. Already Vortex. Let's see what they got going on here. Sidelight, recovery, another recovery. Keith putting on some good damage.
Yeah, so one of the reasons Gauntlets have seen like sort of a drop, specifically in 1v1 play, still alive in 2s, but you have like they can struggle to get in sometimes on a lot of other weapons out there, so they can have some really tough matchups, but that's not necessarily going to be the case here when both Keith and Vortex are going in with the double Gauntlet. So if you're a Gauntlet player and your opponent is playing Gauntlets, that kind of gives you a little bit of free reign, if you don't mind the mirror match, to then go into the Gauntlets as well and feel a little bit safer on some of those initiations. Vortex is swapped over onto the orb, maybe just wants to focus on that after Keith was kind of putting in the work. Keith is still hunting for this KO. He hasn't found it quite yet. If he's looking for a recovery KO off the top of Demon Island, might take him a little bit of time, a little bit more damage to come out, but he's searching for it.
That's right, Vortex able to get the sidelight, no recovery follow-up afterwards. Dash jumping Keith, nice jump call out with the recovery, just catching Vortex directly on top of him. Backing off a little bit here, expecting maybe a sidelight. Vortex not able to find that. Amazing Ensig as an anti-air, and now all of a sudden Vortex has really come back to stock, whiffing an Ensig. Keith not gonna be able to get a KO off of it though. Weapon toss to be able to get back onto the stage. Okay, left weaponless. Nobody can find the stock quite yet.
Yeah, Keith ends up disarming himself originally, so he's not able to punish with a KO move off of that Insig like he talked about. Then he's able to pick up the spear, isn't able to get the KO off of that initially, throws that away, disarms himself, but is able to get it back, and now he has the spear in his hand. Just a little bit of a lead here. Let's see if he can add up some extra credit damage. Does get the sidelight, goes for the second sidelight, hoping like a dodge down will come out from Vortex.
Okay.
That would burn the dodge, and then he could go for a double D-light into a side air or a recovery or whatever he chooses to get some huge damage after that. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to convert any of that, and it's back over to the Gauntlets.
He's looking for another neutral end light at the edge of the stage. The D-light really nicely spaced, but no follow-up from it. Vortex just going to be whiffing an end light, again whiffing another end light, and just giving Keith an opportunity to be able to punish, going all the way out there, keeping the edge guard nice and safe. Still going to be able to find an end light right now. It is, oh, hold on a second. Both of them are off stage. Keith just going to be opting to play it safe. Comes back on. No edge guards. Nice sidelight recovery to be able to take it off the top. top. But the thing that I want to note already is that between the two of them, it seems like Vortex is the one that's whiffing in neutral a little bit more. Keith is able to find a couple more whiff punishes. But now the question is, how is Vortex going to be able to tighten up his spacing? We'll have to find out.
Yeah, it seems like he's playing kind of scared. Like the way that I'll play in a ranked game, like once I realize I'm behind and I have to start like really making up ground very quickly or the game is going to instantly slip away from me, and I start like just panic attacking and then I miss and then my opponent punishes me and I'm just getting more and more behind. It turns into a flywheel that's just going time after time after time after time and just adding it up. I'm getting more and more behind and I continue to struggle. Vortex is putting out some decent damage here. Doesn't quite have a KO damage yet. Maybe if he picks up a Sig in the right place at the right time, he might grab it, but he still has to add up more damage. There it is. Okay, he got the weapon toss into the big neutral signature to KO off the top. That's going to be that high strength of Petra coming out here, helping him out. But you saw the double slide kick. Vortex is in the orange. Now back over to the gauntlets. Like, I don't know how this is going to do anything but slip away from Vortex.
We'll have to find out. Vortex able to get the neutral, being nice and patient, playing back a little bit. Nice punish on the sidelight with a sidelight of his own. No big follow-up. Keith going to be looking for his sidelight because he wants a double. He wants to get the recovery. Vortex trying to make an edge guard happen. Not going to be able to get it. Gets the neutral pickup finally off of that sidelight. So he's making up a bit of damage. Keith, though, was still fine. A couple of hits. The N-Light is able to call out the dodge. Nicely done. D-Light spaced a little bit too far back. Not going to be able to combo into the recovery, which would have KO'd off the top. But it does not matter because Keith is still going to be able to find a sidelight recovery to KO off the top and take game one.
It was definitely a lot closer there in the end than I expected it to be, based on how like the middle of the game was going, when there was almost a full stock lead, maybe like 3/4 of the stock lead. Like right when Vortex came in on final stock, Keith was like in the later stages of yellow, not even like deep yellow, but like the later third of yellow, I'd say. So that was like a solid lead that Vortex just kind of started to turn around little bit by little bit. And if you look at some of their past history, or at least their kind of most recent past history, if we're looking at SEA Showdown Mark 11 put on by Insig, shout out Insig, shout out Sandwick, they played each other in the winter semifinals, and that went all the way to Game 5. Now, I don't know how close the individual games were, but all the way to Game 5 is very close between these two players. And now, Dara, tell us what we're seeing on the screen in front of us.
Oh boy. Okay, so we are seeing not just one, but rather two chakrams. We're seeing the double pre of Vortex and Keith opting to play the top tier at the moment. Okay, so what are they going to be looking for? Sword, get out of here. Fuse Chakram, get out of here. It's going to be split Chakram all day, and they want to be able to get KOs the exact same way, which is how? A lot of neutralities, a lot of split neutralities, a lot of recoveries, a lot of downers, and a lot of N-Lights to be able to try and see if you can get some sort of a dodge read to take an early stock off the top. That is the win condition for Chakrams. That is what has led to so much success previously at max mode, and let's see what Vortex and Keith have for us. Neutral recovery, beautifully done. Already a good amount of damage being dealt here.
So in terms of legend time spent like grinding this legend, Vortex is definitely going to have the higher level by at least 9 levels, level 24 compared to Keith's level 15. But so far, I mean, it started off much stronger for Keith, but Vortex is starting to bring this back again. I don't know if he meant to do that sidelight or if he meant to fall through the soft platform with sort of a falling side air there. Getting caught almost under the stage. Oh, you saw Keith instantly go in. It was just a little bit too late to actually capitalize on it. But he does pick up the D-Light there, and then turning around to get the neutral signature as Vortex crests over that corner and then goes past Keith, hoping for a safe landing, but a great grab from Keith.
Yeah, nicely done. Keith has now amassed quite a bit of a lead here. Going to be looking to get something else going. Vortex going to be left weaponless. Neutral recovery. Okay, and the thing about Chakrams is that you can exhaust all of your options, and it's not that big of a commitment because you can land with down air. And it's typically advantageous for them to go for less resets and more just we're full sending off the top every single time.
They're kind of just jockeying for position here. Vortex potentially setting up for the edge guard, doesn't actually push off stage as Keith goes high. Okay, missed the first down air, does get the bounce off the wall after getting the second down air.
Okay, Keith looking for the jump call out with Cider, whiffs a recovery right above Vortex's head, and Vortex just able to find whiff punisher saying, yeah, okay, watch out, don't do that again. Okay, super dangerous. You have to remember that Chakram is able to take stocks really early off the top, so you have to be so careful. There is no amount of damage that is actually safe here.
It is like really funny to see, I guess not funny if you're a sword player, but to see the mass exodus off of sword. Oh my gosh, okay, all right, Keith is gonna steal that stock away from Vortex. Wow, he took that one right away. But it's so funny that like Keith picked up the sword and I was like, okay, we're gonna see a little bit of sword gameplay, but then I remembered, oh yeah, no one plays sword anymore, and he just instantly throws it away.
It's only, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, Keith is dealing so much damage onto Vortex, but I was going to say, like, Chakram down is such a crazy reversal tool, especially against Chakrams, because the down is just so disjointed compared to the vertical tools that Chakram actually has, because the recovery you have to go up with it, so that it actually makes it really scary to juggle Chakrams as Chakrams. You could really easily just flip the situation on your opponent. You saw Vortex respecting the space of the downer that time around. Within the end light, Keith able to get a big punish here, putting Vortex off stage.
Yeah, that was a great 4-piece that Keith was able to grab. He has like a full stock lead here. I mean, Vortex is juggling in the air, but if he doesn't find the KO move, then, I mean, it's adding up good damage, but he's still really far behind. He's going to be able to strip the field.
Supposedly the split side are definitely not going to be able to KO. Vortex picking up the Chakrams once more, looking for the fused recovery. Not going to be able to connect it. The GC side sig whiffs, but I like that Keith respected it because that has a lot less recovery frames than you think it does. Still not enough?
Not really going over to that weapon. What weapon does he have next? Was that the Chakram? I can't remember if he had the Chakrams queued up and then didn't. Okay, yeah, that's exactly what happened, I think, is he didn't want to pick up the Chakrams as he was very damaged, then likely losing his stock, losing that weapon that he had, and then having to come back in. The next weapon spawn would be the sword, and he doesn't want to play sword.
Yes.
So that was very strategic to not focus on the weapon spawn that was there and to play unarmed, even though he'd be losing his stock.
Okay, able to get the downer. Vortex just chase dodging down and to safety the side light. End light pickup tries to go for a big lead with the end sig. It is not successful. Leading in with the side. Vortex is so close to be able to make a comeback this game. You have to be careful. You have to stay away from that downer. Keith keeps trying to sneak one in.
Yeah, Vortex is essentially doing exactly what he did the last game in terms of pacing, is he's on his final stock, Keith is on second, Keith is about a full stock lead, and then all of a sudden, Vortex starts to bring it back. Ooh, he went for the 2-piece, maybe turning around trying to hit the reaction with the neutral signature. He waited, wasn't able to find a KO move. He has a lot of damage on Vortex. I don't know if a non-signature move will do it here. Vortex is really bringing this back. He's doing a great job.
Whiffing the GC side sig, but again, it is going to go unpunished. The split sider is not going to be enough to be able to KO off the side. The recovery still not enough to do it off the top because, well, let's see. Nope, it's just going to be some more split action. And the side light into the D light is going to be able to close it out for Keith, just like one, as you mentioned, Vortex is getting a bit of a comeback on the last stock after being behind for a little, and then Keith was still able to ultimately close at the end of the day. So very nicely done. Now Keith has a 2-0 lead in the set.
Yeah, we can see on the end screen that it was so close. Damage done and damage taken were 6 points apart from each other. It was 549 done by Keith and 543 done by Vortex. So something about like the second half of the game, or really like the last third of Vortex's stock, that he realizes, oh yeah, now I really gotta flip that switch. I gotta turn it on, and I gotta find a way to put out that damage on the Keith. It wouldn't surprise me if we look back at the VOD from SEA Showdown Mark 11 and saw like basically the exact same thing come out between the two, and that's why it went to Game 5.
That's good. Something that I'm like noting though is like continuously Chakram players, they will refuse vehemently to play the weapon fused at all. They will just constantly opt to play it split, and even if like the KO move doesn't work, the whole point is like, hey, it's so quick, it's so safe, that they'll be able to press it once, twice, 3 times, be it like side or recovery to take a stock off the top. You know, there's definitely a couple of instances where I'm like, I want to see if the meta is going to change for this weapon in some sort of a way, perhaps maybe with the upcoming balance patch. But I was talking to a couple of Chakram players and they were just like, nope, we're probably just thinking this weapon is still going to be split. We don't know how relevant those nerfs are going to be, but yeah, ultimately, I am just curious to see how the weapon will evolve so that they can balance the fuse more with the split over time.
Yeah, definitely right now there are very few reasons almost none reasons to play Fused over Split. Yes, you have moves that will KO a little bit earlier, and like Taza and you were definitely talking about this like during Max Mode. It's like, oh, that was a time where the Fused down air or whatever would have KO'd in that moment. But
yeah,
you lower the KO potential, but you still have such a high like safety potential that they would rather have to put out more moves that are safer than fewer moves that are more dangerous. It's like when the like pre-recent sword nerfs that really took the weapon out of the meta, it's like you would have to put out a lot of damage to KO your opponent. If you were going to do it with D-Light Recovery, if you were going to do it with D-Light Sair, like you're putting out higher damage numbers on average, but those options were still really safe. D-Light was still an amazingly safe move. So like, yeah, you'll put out 200 damage, but you're still risking less overall because of how safe the moves were. That's kind of the same thing with Split Chakram. Is like Split Chakram, the kid is just so good. Even if it doesn't KO as early, like that's not a problem because the moves are still safe. You can still throw them out and risk a lot less than if you had Fused.
And that's right, and we're seeing that come into fruition once again. Keith and Vortex with the plot armor, they're starting both off with
nice.
Chakram, and then Keith is going out there for the GC side sig. Vortex is Sweat Beads going to be coming out, and the end sig, amazing coverage. Keith just getting down and below to be able to close that out. What an opening to the free stock.
Yeah, I didn't even see that coming. I saw him dip down there, and then like my eyes moved over to Vortex because I was like, okay, he's gonna try and come in and recovery back towards the stage, and that'll be what he's doing. But no, using the neutral signature there to kind of get that Chakram behind him to get back towards the stage and also catch Vortex. Fantastic move. It's like turning around not a gauntlet, a Scythe Nair. Whenever your opponent dodges through or over you to get back to the stage.
Oh my goodness, but Vortex with an amazing string, and then finally finishing it out with the side off the stage, just to be able to win, even up that stock. Keith opened off with a huge lead. Vortex already making a bit of a comeback. The D-Light, okay, Keith starting up some of these big juggles.
It feels like every time I've seen Keith pick up the sword, like he instantly throws it away. I don't know if that's just because he's trying to like interrupt the momentum of Vortex as he's approaching the weapon spawn, or if he's literally just like, I would rather play unarmed.
It's Chakram season.
Nice.
It's Chakram season. Nobody wants to touch sword at the moment if they're playing Puya at all. Okay, Keith looking for the neutral, think back with it a little bit here, and then going out there for the side sig once again. That move is so quick. Vortex not able to see it coming, just eating it, and now all of a sudden, I mean, this is this huge. Keith has all the momentum that he needs.
We saw Keith set up the Chakram for him to grab again. Like, you barely hear the lightsaber fully turn on before it's already gone and out of his hands. He does not want to touch that weapon whatsoever.
Okay.
Intense neutral coming through. Ooh, nice catch.
Nice string.
Just barely catching Vortex as he moved back in with the right side of the down air and then keeping the pressure up. Keeping the juggle game up. Okay, Vortex was just a little bit lower. Back-to-back recoveries.
Yeah, Sword, get out of here. It's only Chakrams right now. And like Keith gonna be looking for the double, goes out there for the side, puts himself off stage, almost ends up SDing, and Vortex not able to fully capitalize on that, but that is A-okay. Let's see what he's able to make happen. Huge recovery gonna be coming on out.
Oh, the second one.
And that's why you gotta keep on extending. You have so much drift after the recovery that you get to keep on repositioning like there is no tomorrow. Vortex though, popping out the D-Sig, still gonna be safe. Tried to get the back end of it though. We haven't seen it actually connect yet. That time around, Keith able to get a big punish on it.
Now the lead that Keith has is starting to get a little bit scary here. Because normally Vortex can grab the KO when he's in like yellow. The fact that he's in the later stages of orange is a little bit worrisome here for him. He's not able to deny the weapon, but it is a sword. Keith is actually holding on to it, and he gets a KO with it, and he secures the 3-0 in the set with sword. Ladies and gentlemen, is sword back? YouTube pod face? I'm going Mr. Beast mode.
That's right.
Is sword back?
One downer and a grab pound, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right. Sword is so back. You see, guys, Priya maids use both weapons. Keith gonna be living proof of it. So nicely done to Keith. You know, showing off. I would love, we don't actually have like a stats tool at the moment, but I would have loved like a damage distribution chart of each weapon. I would have loved to have seen how much damage each weapon did. But that might have been like the first. Was there any other sword attack that connected the entire set, or was that it? That was the only one. I'm fairly certain that was the only one.
potentially including weapon tosses as well. I think several of the weapon tosses missed, or were at least like dodged through. So yeah, I think that was literally it. Not a huge surprise there overall. Keith, of course, #1 PR in SEA. Vortex 18. Vortex is like a longtime player in Southeast Asia and has definitely like had his time like at the top. Now is not currently one of those times, at least if you're just looking at PR, but he's still top forward, and he started top 4 on the winner's side of the bracket as well. So Vortex still has some room to go in this tournament. We'll see him move through the bottom side. He's guaranteed himself top 3, so he's got to be feeling good about that. His PR is definitely going to jump after this weekend for sure.
That's right. That was, you know, we saw some signs of life from Vortex, but it does seem like we'll be going right into the next set. So we are just jumping on into, is this going to be elimination semis? Yes, it is! Oh my god. Oh, we're so back. We're so back. Do you see what's happening on the screen? Do you see what's going on, Sparky? It's finally my moment. This is it. I've been waiting for this moment for over a year. We have Tiger up against Sphinx, and there is one Azoth on the screen. There is an Azoth. Tiger, let's go.
Yeah,
a little bit of bias coming out.
Going from like
that's my main, baby.
Hyper modern double Priya into what year is this? And then Sphinx. Okay, almost losing that stock. Why did Tiger go in with the neutral air that was going to send him up? Where was the ground pound, brother? Where was the weapon toss into something different, brother? He did say in the chat right before this game that he's not awake, so the punish game might be a little bit sluggish here to start, and then he can find himself back into this.
Okay, landing with a side and able to get the second hit of the N6 just when you think that move is finished, and you're like, wait a second, does that? The answer is yes, it does. The hitbox on that thing, I highly encourage all of you guys to go look at it because it is, well, it is way too big. Able to get the double end light, able to get the jump call out with the side. Tiger is cooking at the moment.
Dude, that's like, it's like 5 hits, 80, 90 damage.
Yep, that's Azoth, baby. That's right. Okay, looking for the D-light, looking for the Sido. Sphinx not able to get any of these land. He's finally able to land in with the Sido. Let's see what he's able to do. Looking for call out, but the end so active, so big, tries to go for another N-Sig, but just gonna be keeping himself nice and safe with it.
Oh, went for the side signature, just barely whiffing, moving a little bit too past Sphinx there. Burning his dodge there so he could do it towards the wall, throw out a hitbox while also touching the wall to reset his jumps. Is he going to chase with the... He goes with the GCD light. What was that? I don't know if he just wanted to, like, halt his movement in the air, which is why he did a gravity cancel, rather than, like, anything else, because his opponent wasn't anywhere near him. Sphinx does get the D-light into the recovery for the KO, but he's really far behind here. There's no weapon spawn on the field just yet as Sphinx completely stripped. Let's see. Okay, he's able to grab the bow very quickly, kind of retreating onto that soft platform to give himself some safety, give himself some room, build up that space that bow players love.
That's right. Tiger is just trying to play back and bait Sphinx's movement somehow. Able to get the D-light fully spaced, gonna true combo into the recovery. Nicely done from Tiger. And just like that, Tiger has amassed a pretty big lead for himself. Sphinx has a lot of damage to make up here in an entire stock.
Now, Tiger does have a level 56 Azoth going into this game. I haven't personally commentated too many of his matches where he's played this legend. It's the number I could probably count on one, definitely 2 hands. Back in the day, he was like a Koji player, so we know he has that bow experience. I don't even often really remember seeing too much axe from him, but it's working so far. We saw like the crazy 5-piece he got earlier. He was looking to space there. He was really looking for the space. But Sphinx was able to get the like max range GCD light, well placed, and like Sphinx is absolutely back in this game.
Yeah, and that was also just like the last few active frames of the exhausted recovery there as well. So nicely done, good spacing.
Nice
Sphinx able to go ahead and hunt down that dodge, able to get the GC side light as well. Tiger with the stage spike with the side air, able to get a side sig as well. How is he going to be able to control the ground? Side light, D light, recovery. Okay, alright, buddy, hold on. GC side sig, a little too committal.
No, I like that. I actually really like that. Right off the ground, if you're on the ground, you'll still get the hit on it. If they're a little bit in the air, you'll get the hit on it. I actually really like that option that he went for.
Yes. Sadu comes out.
Clutch
and
nair,
then the recovery. Wow, fully spaced too. Nicely done. Amazing spacing from Tiger at the end. And he's going to be taking game number 1.
Yeah, that was a really clutch nair. 2 really clutch moves right there. The nair started it off. That sort of halted the impending ground pound that was coming in from Sphinx. and then right after that he followed up instantly. Instead of just being like, okay, I have stopped the assault, the enemy has been halted, I can regroup and catch my breath. No, he kept his momentum going in the perfect zone with that recovery. It was fantastic. Okay. Yes. So Sphinx is heavily damaged. I don't know exactly when he will be disarmed. Oh, okay. He did basically the same thing there, and he gets the stock off of that. It's basically the reverse of what Tiger just did, where he got the move to kind of halt what was coming out from Tiger with the neutral air, stop that momentum right where he stood, and then he kept it going with the instant ground pound rather than just moving back on to the main platform. Nice weapon toss there. He didn't get a dodge out, so Sphinx was able to save it towards the end and get back, maintain stage control.
Looking for the D-Light. Sphinx just opting to play really floaty. Yeah, in this matchup, I feel like Bow against Scythe, like Neutrally is going to be a huge tool. Sido is going to be a huge tool. Nobody is able to find any of the edge guarding tools here, but Sphinx able to finally find the Neutrally. Tiger, oh, sweat beads. Okay, able to land back down safely. Keeps going out there for these edge guards against Scythe, which, I mean, that's a little bit risky because you already know Scythe's reversal potential off stage.
Yeah, Sphinx has a solid lead here. He's pushing Tiger more and more into the orange. The reversal potential, it's getting really, really scary here. You're seeing Sphinx. He's waiting for the reactions. He's hitting the neutral air and then waiting to see, kind of following Tiger's movement with his jumps as well. Staying off the ground.
Okay, and light.
The neutral
Nice.
light. Wow, he whiffed the D-light because Sphinx was in the air. I don't know if that was like a bait D-light that he could then instantly follow up with the in-light when Sphinx came in to punish, and then he gets the counter punish with the in-light.
Yeah, that was just called, do you think that you're safe here? Oh, wait a second. Sphinx taking a bit of damage off stage. Tiger popping out a safety. Sphinx, though, able to make it back on. Okay, how's he gonna find the opening? Side light, no neutral light, neutral light, excuse me, but still able to get the side light into the recovery. That's good damage.
Ooh, completely disengaging after that, so he didn't fall prey to the signature that Tiger threw out. Hoping to catch like a dodge in or a spot dodge or even like jumping just a little bit to move back in. Nice side air from Tiger though. He's starting to look for these KOs here. He needs to find something soon.
Tiger needs to start adapting to Sphinx's high recoveries because he's never going directly to the ledge. Sphinx able to get a good string, able to deal a lot of damage here, just gonna find that end light, looking for the dodge read as well. Another end light, just keeps putting himself in all these really favorable positions. Tiger looking for any way to be able to land here. Oh, landing with a side air like that is so unsafe.
Yeah, Sphinx is going like full reaction mode. He's like abandoning a lot of the reads that side players will go for, and he's like going pure reaction mode. And he's getting a lot off of it. He even gets that stock. He didn't lose his second stock. A fantastic answer back from Sphinx. Holy cow.
So I feel like this was a very big difference in the way that both of them came back onto the stage. And this is, I feel like, a typical thing that I see. Well, maybe I feel like I'm relating to this a little bit as Azoth, right? When it comes to like bow and when it comes to axe, it can be very dangerous going for recoveries over the stage like that. It can feel really difficult to get out of disadvantage. It can feel very difficult to land, especially going up against Vortex. And it felt like Sphinx was just able to exploit when it came to the ledge trapping, when it came to the corner pressure, when it came to catching Tiger's landings. On the other hand, it felt like Sphinx just kept on going for a lot of high recoveries over the stage, didn't land into any of like Tiger's D6, be it on axe or on bow. And so the question is, how do you start covering and threatening the high recoveries as well? As Tiger, the answer is probably just going to be some empty jumps, right? You want to start threatening with some D-lights, you want to start threatening with some siders as well, some N-sigs. Already Sphinx, though, with a huge neutral air. You see, again, Tiger going for the D-sig, and then Sphinx just able to avoid that. He has not gotten hit by one of those D-sigs in quite some time.
Yeah, and that's kind of taking like the main tool, not necessarily just that signature, but in general, when you play Azoth, you should be like heavily leaning on that signature button, either to control space or to actually hit your opponent and find those KOs super early. But he's not really able to do that. It's mostly him just like missing, and he's not controlling a lot of space with it. Okay, he does get the hit there finally, but it took like 4 of those. He does have a lead. It was the backside of it, picking up at that goofy angle. But yeah, Sphinx has been doing a fantastic job of just avoiding all of those signatures so far.
That's right, but we'll see how Tiger is able to adapt. At the moment, though, Sphinx, amazing NSIG finishing there to take the stock off the top. Beautifully done, and it just quickly evened up the game.
Yeah, he went for the read there, the turnaround neutral signature instantly after the follow-up rather than the reaction-based gameplay that's been playing so far. Yeah, so that's not a
now
problem.
we're seeing some of the adjustments, right? The jump GC side sig that almost connected, that was a few pixels away, but now he's adapting to the way that Sphinx is trying to get back onto the stage. Okay, sidelight
there is a secondary weapon still on the field. There's the in-light, see if we can set up into an edge guard that did burn the dodge. Sphinx was not ready for that instantly.
He's just waiting. He's just waiting for Tiger to throw out a signature, and then Sphinx is just able to use all that time as an opportunity to get back on the NSIG whips. Sphinx finding an N-light, finally getting anti-aired by one of those D-lights. Sidelight, neutral, true combo, good damage. Tiger committing all the way to the recovery, didn't find it. The N-light ended up whipping the ground pound, landing with it as well. The game is just about even at this point. Sphinx is looking for any opening, and it aims the whip punish, going out through the ground pound.
I'm just feeling like for Tiger right now, Axe is kind of the play. It feels like the giant hitboxes, he doesn't fully have the tightest grasp on Sphinx's movement here to be able to punish with the, I'll call them a little bit more precise. Like if you're looking at the down air, it's a very long line. It has a ton of range, but on bow, like it's pretty skinny, right? Compare that to the D-light on Axe, the in-light on Axe. Every Axe move that you can throw out, it's a little bit more dangerous, but you can cover a lot more. Okay, the bow play is starting to level up here a little bit. Sphinx still unable to find this KO, does get the recovery off the top. We'll see how Tiger opens up this final stock of Sphinx with the Axe.
Just looking for that first opening, looking for any way to catch that landing. Sphinx just opting to play a little bit floaty, able to get a nice 2-piece there. Another N-light, looking to pick up another one. Downer just putting Tiger off stage. Not able to connect the side light quite yet. The D-light just able to catch Sphinx going up a little bit higher than jumping. Nicely done. The Downer going to be putting him off stage once more. The recovery going out there for the edge guard. Tiger is going to be able to successfully connect it and just secures this game 3.
Great work from Tiger there. And it's interesting looking at the damage numbers there, where Tiger that game is putting out 609 compared to like the 470 I believe that Sphinx put out. If you add up like the 130 or so that Sphinx was going to have to do to likely find the KO, then they're putting out similar damage. If you look at last game, they also put out similar damage. I think Sphinx put out maybe 60 more damage, but he still had 2 stocks to go. That's how insanely efficient he was after getting that like huge first KO by making Tiger completely fall into the blast zone on the bottom and lose the stock.
Okay, now we're seeing the switch to Zariel. Let's see how this ends up working out for Sphinx. Tiger landing with a side A, backing off, throwing out a D-sig. Sphinx just able to get in there and find a sidelight of his own. We haven't seen any big extended bowstrings quite yet. Sidelight into the D-sig. Interesting choice. I think Sphinx meant to go off stage with it because on the stage it's, of course, you know, it's not going to spike, right? It's not as powerful. It's not stunning.
Ooh, nice. Tiger was very careful on that. He did burn his dodge there for a spot dodge. He didn't cancel it into anything that might have given Sphinx the room to punish the counter punish, if you will. But we're seeing sort of similar schools of thought here on this swap over to Zariel that we have Tiger on with the Azoth. Is you're playing a signature heavy character. You're playing someone like Teska, someone like Zariel, someone like Azoth, where you want to be throwing out those signatures much more often than you would be if you were playing most of the other legends in Brawlhalla.
Okay, Sphinx in a really good position at the moment. Let's see how he's going to be able to secure this edge guard. And yes, Tiger all out of options, just throwing out the recovery, sweat beads coming out, and Sphinx just able to take full advantage of it. And now let's see how he's going to be able to make up the damage. Downer and Light waiting for a little bit, waiting for Tiger's defensive option. Backing off here for a second. Tiger looking for any downers, just whiffing 2 of them. Ooh. Finally able to get the double. Huge damage.
Dude, that's always tough. When you hit the down air, get the bounce pass for a second down air, and then you have enough damage to send them above you for the neutral air right after that. That's a devastating three-piece. Tiger, again with the neutral signature, getting a KO there. Almost a full stock lead. We're seeing a massive momentum shift here over in Tiger's favor in this set now.
Tiger right now is just doing anything he can to catch all of Sphinx's jumps, be it with D-Light, be it with Axe neutrally, be it with either of the N-Sigs. Sphinx opting to play such a jump-heavy playstyle. The question is, does Tiger have the spacing to be able to continue to punish that? We'll find out. Sidelight recovery comes out, still not enough to KO off the top. Down, Sphinx is going out there, he's hunting for it, but not able to secure the KO. Until just now, able to get the recovery, Sphinx has evened up the game once again.
Yeah, we got ourselves an even game here. And keep in mind, Tiger winning here, even though like he has basically the greatest name recognition in Southeast Asia from his very long career in this region, he's coming in PR12 to this, and Sphinx is coming in PR3 to this. So Tiger winning here would be a massive upset in this region.
That's right. Let's see if he's going to be able to secure this, or if this is going to end up going to a game 5. Tiger just patrolling the weapon here. Comes back on with the Unlight. Let's see how he's able to continue the juggles. Covering the platform with the neutral. Nicely done. Sphinx, all that with the side air, commits to the ground pound, puts himself off stage. And Tiger, whiffing the sidelight, puts Sphinx in an amazing position, eating the weapon toss, and there is nothing that Tiger can do. Sphinx gonna be closing out that last stock. Wow.
I think like every Brawlhalla player has seen like the final moments of that game play out so many different times where they find the side air, it sends you at the perfect angle for them to get the weapon toss down and end it. It's over for you. You lose your stock in like late orange to the early stages of red way earlier than you would in like any other circumstance, because of the angle that that side air can send at, and of course players this good are going to nail that weapon toss every single time.
Right now, I feel like the thing that Sphinx is doing so well is that he's playing like just outside of like jump neutral range on Axe, or like just outside of like D-Light range. And so the idea is you want to bait it. That time around though, kind of doing the opposite, able to get a good string going, dealing quite a bit of damage here. Landing with the side air once again. Sphinx able to find a recovery for all of his troubles. Sidelight, backing off a little bit, looking for the whip punish, able to get it that time.
Now, I'm a little bit curious why we're still seeing Sphinx go in with the Zariel pick here and maybe not swap back over to what he was playing previously, because when he's playing Gauntlets, we really haven't seen him use many signatures. Like, yeah, we saw the side signature just there, but other than that, we haven't seen that many, and that kind of mirrors what he was doing on the Vortex previously as well, as he wasn't using a lot of Gauntlet signatures. He was using more of the side signatures, just like when we see him play Bow here, we see him use some more of these Bow signatures. We saw him use the down signature. There's the N-Sig coming out.
Yeah, his spacing is looking super good at the moment, though. Looking for the D-Light. Tiger tries to go for the big punish with the side sig. It can be a little bit difficult to space out. Speaking of which, Sphinx ended up missing a critical sale. Tiger had him off stage. He just opts to play it safe and pick up a weapon. The neutraler is not going to be enough to KO off the top. It is Bow neutraler. It is Bow and Light at the end of the day. So they're not going to KO the easiest until the barbecue sauce red. So now is going to be the point where, you know, that's right. That's right. You have high ceiling on the stage.
Yeah, I'm not seeing kind of what I want coming out from Sphinx's Bow. This game is gonna have a lot of damage on it. At least if the rest of it goes the way that this first stock is going. Again, that's like the moves that they're happening to hit, like the D-Light or the N-Lights that Sphinx is hitting, coupled with Mos Eisley Spaceport. We're gonna see definitely the highest damage numbers that we've seen so far. But yeah, man, I'm not feeling the most confident in Sphinx's Bow. I love his gauntlets. I think his gauntlets are great, but I'm not feeling the greatest about his bow play so far. And like Tiger's bow play is getting better. I said that his axe was looking better earlier. Now his bow is leveling up. His axe is still looking strong.
Tiger,
I think in terms of
he
I thought we were gonna get an extended edge guard.
This series is still not going to be enough to be able to get that stock out. He was whiffing a whole lot of neutralers, and Sphinx was able to get some big punishes for it. The D-Light ends up lingering. It was still active enough. Oh my goodness. And the D-Light was able to successfully KO off the top. Yeah, but Tiger, he was looking a little bit lost there for a second on how to actually get that KO.
Okay, we see Sphinx get the one hit. Goes with the neutral signature, but Tiger actually dodged back in. It's another silent. Okay, the bow play is bringing some work out. He's finding these single hits, but it's still like more or less an extended string because it's a lot of unanswered damage. He has the lead here, trying to keep himself safe with that weapon toss. Again, these signatures are not the strongest thing for Tiger. Sphinx has done a great job of knowing when they're coming, knowing how they work, and then knowing how to get around them, and then grabbing stage control and getting the KO there, like you just said.
Yeah, that was a good mix up his landing, just catching the cross up those Sphinx. That was a huge call out onto Tiger, and now all of a sudden the game, the set is slipping away from him. Tiger able to get a couple of down airs, not able to get the side air though that he needed. Sphinx has amassed a big lead for himself. Sidelight, no neutral air. That time around he's gonna be able to get it. Goes for another GC sidelight recovery. Tiger going all the way out there. Sphinx tossing the weapon down to keep his landing as safe as possible, and he goes out when he finally needed it most. You talked about it. Where are the gauntlet signatures from Sphinx? Well, he's got them. He got that insig at the end, and he was able to close out that game and that set.
Yeah, that was very impressive. Finally, he got the momentum on the bow. Once he got the momentum on the bow, it seemed like his gauntlets stretched even further out there and were even more confident, and he had a complete like read on the movement of Tiger all the way through that. Yeah, that was a fantastic turnaround on the double gen from what I was seeing earlier. He really leveled up that game.
That's right. So a little bit unfortunate for the Tiger. He was having quite a bit of a bracket run for himself. And I'm surprised how that ended up going, given that, you know, it was a game 5. But at the end, I feel like just Fix adapted a little bit more. We started to see some nervousness, I feel like, from Tiger on the first stock when he was like really struggling to get that KO. We saw so many whiffed bow neutralers. We saw just like a lot of attempts. He was just swinging. He was throwing out a whole lot of buttons. And Sphinx was just able to get some damage. He was able to get some extra credit, and he was able to punish Tiger for it appropriately. We're going into our next set. The next is going to be in elimination finals, but that's going to be after a break, everybody, so don't go anywhere quite yet. We'll be back in just a few moments with elimination finals and then grand finals, so stay tuned.
Stay side. Aight, whether you ready or not. Nothing less but a no that is test is a test that you will be exposed. Game tight solid, rise to the top. Game tight solid, rise to the top. Every moment, every second that you find on the clock, champion on a mission and I won't stop. I see through your eyes like a window. Nothing inside, no heart when it gets cold. Try to take mine, that's bad from the get-go. When I put it on, you have to watch it, they stand up. Think about the outcome, think about your health, bro. Think about your family, think about your ego. Wanna be the boss when it ain't that simple. I'ma let you know what your hands do. Every moment of the contest, I'ma keep it pushing forward. This is the ultimate challenge. It's too much to be ignored. Anytime you wanna bring it, I'ma find a way to win. Undisputed champion. Undisputed champion.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Spring Singles Championships. We're here in Southeast Asia, here on the mainstream, and now we are getting into the last 2 to potentially 3 sets of the day for the Legion. We're in elimination finals, where we will be having Sphinx going up against Vortex, and I'm here joined alongside by my lovely co-casting Sparky. Sparky, how are you feeling about this upcoming elimination finals match?
I'm feeling good about it because we're seeing Sphinx go into this one already on the Devil Jin, already on the Zariel, that he just finished playing against Tiger, grabbing the victory at the end of that game. And we're seeing Vortex go in with the Priya. So we saw double Priya, and then we saw no Priya, and now we're going to get 1 Priya versus Zariel.
So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting, specifically the weapon matchup, considering only Chakram. I'm going to be considering Vortex as only playing Chakram into this one. Sidelight is a really big tool for Gauntlets in this matchup. The reason why that is because oftentimes Chakrams, they love hovering around in that sort of vertical space where they want to sort of threaten with jumps, they want to threaten with neutraler, and they want to threaten with downer as well. Gauntlet's Sidelight is going to be a really important anti-air tool to be able to effectively call out Vortex. Hold on, I have to stop talking. That was almost to stop going off the top. Oh my goodness.
The next thing that I was going to say is, yeah, we're going from Sphinx and Tiger on Mos Eisley Spaceport over to Small Brawlhaven, so I expect the KOs off the top, especially off the top, to be much quicker now. But you were talking about the ability of Chakram to like float above and use the down air.
Okay.
Like, I don't know how Sphinx is going to deal with that. Okay.
Hold on, Sphinx.
That
is why you play Zariel. It's those signatures. Almost every single signature has some sort of an offstage usage, and the GC and Sig with the gauntlets, it's an amazing way to get back on. You're able to threaten, and just like that, Sphinx was able to make it back on and basically reset the game. It is just about even. Eating a side Sig, Vortex going out there and finding the recovery. Sphinx has not been able to get Vortex off of him. The coverage with the GC Sig as well. Vortex is popping off.
Yeah, Sphinx was on the back foot that basically the last 25 to 30 seconds, and it might be that case the rest of this game for sure. He's able to grab the gauntlets, but like there's no way that you can contest Chakram down air with gauntlets. Like by the time you're able to get in and use like a neutral air because they're above you, they're
switch here. We'll be seeing the pick onto the Onyx. And I do agree with sticking onto the gauntlets, but I can't actually say that I've seen much of the Cannon Chakra matchup up until now.
Yeah, I wonder what he's thinking with this, because of course we know that Chakra players like to kind of float in the air. So is he going to go for like a sidelight option? Is that going to be like his main starter? Because it'll move you forward. If the Chakra player is like here, okay, or is he going to play... I'm going to wait to do analysis until we figure out what Sphinx is actually doing here. Otherwise it's going to be all for naught, because it seems like he wants to play this Lin Fei, which... This is a very interesting choice. He wanted to move on to the cannon, which is why he chose Onyx. And then, of course, you said that sticking with the gauntlets is a good idea. I agree with that as well. So him moving over onto the Lin Fei, maybe he feels a little bit more comfortable with the signature kit that he can throw out more often. That's kind of one of the reasons that people used to play Onyx a lot as well. She was a very, like, spam signature-heavy legend. So we'll see.
We'll see. Let's get. I got to see a bit of this matchup actually at max mode when Guichibu was playing, of course, the Lin Fei, and I just feel like what's really interesting is a lot of Qatar ground pounds to be able to land against Chakrams have actually been quite effective, especially just because of how quickly it comes out. We'll see if that ever comes into play, though. At the moment, though, Sphinx is looking for any way to be able to get back on. Vortex keeps leading it. They kept doing it again, man. They're like, hey, let's go for it again. Let's do it. Let's see if it happens this time.
I mean, he clearly knows the input of how to do that. Like when a Lance player really knows how to use the Lance on the corner to either get those like instant down airs or like the weird reverse neutral air stuff that like Muna was showing on Twitter. So will it matter? Who knows? The way it started so far with Vortex getting the KO with like only 60 to 70 damage on his stock, it may not matter. You can do all the cannon tech on the corner in the world and Vortex is just gonna do this.
So much damage. Sphinx just wanting to get to safe ground, just wanting to land. Please give him anything. Vortex continuing to put on the pressure, landing with the down air. Sphinx thinks that he is safe, and the answer is no, he is not. The N-Light neutraler. Finally, the down air is still going to be hitting from behind. The GC N6, Sphinx not going to be able to get the punish. Vortex able to get the reversal off stage, and Sphinx not going to be able to touch. And that is another stock gone, deleted, obliterated.
And this is why the Onyx, to I believe both of us, it seems like it makes way more sense because the Katars just like don't have it. No. They straight up don't have it. Maybe he wants high dex cannon and he's gonna take Katars when he has to, but he really wants the high dex cannon. There's the sidelight. Okay, it seems like sidelight is his option. That's really what I was saying when it seemed like he was gonna stick on the Onyx. So if Vortex is floating in the air, he can kind of like dash in sidelight, and that'll be a bit of a safer option compared to like the Gauntlet sidelight.
Whipping the GCD light like that above Vortex's head is just going to be a huge punish opportunity. Vortex finally eating an N-Light, gets sent at a nasty angle off stage. Is Sphinx going to be able to secure this edge guard? And the answer is Vortex looking for another reversal.
Yeah, like Sphinx has to go for the big plays. He has to force off stage because he's 2 stocks down. And is he going to fall here? Okay, Vortex with a little bounce pass to himself off the ground to make sure he doesn't lose his chakram. Going back for the split. He's just going to look for the juggles. Okay.
The ground.
There's the ground pound you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, maybe not exactly the use case that I had in mind, but hey, you know what? It has gotten Sphinx the first stock so far that he's gotten all game.
We still didn't see, like, we saw the weapon toss hit, but the N-Light didn't hit. We still have seen, like, no sword moves hit almost this entire tournament so far. He went in for the ground pound, trying to basically recreate what he got before with the Qatar ground pound. It's not quite as fast, so he's not able to get it, and Vortex is going to get the KO.
That's right.
Play cross. Play cross.
Okay.
Not Val.
Well,
not Val. Not Val. Not Val. Please don't play Val. This is not the time to play Val, brother. Just play cross. No.
It seems like it's going to be the Val. Okay. Well, Sully, that... What's your problem with Sully at the moment?
It's like there's no reason to play it. It like all of the really good reasons to play it.
Definitely getting outclassed at the moment.
It's just it's just like it's not the move right now. It's been the move for basically all of Brawlhalla ever. Right now, it's not the play. But who knows?
So
maybe
we'll see
he'll
if
show
it
us
is going to be the move for Sphinx. Maybe we'll We'll see. Given how the first couple of games went, it was just all Vortex's advantage state. Sphinx, he was just not able to land. He was not able to land safely at all. And they keep going back to Small World's End, which honestly, I mean, that is definitely a choice. That is a choice that has been unsuccessful. Sphinx has almost lost the stock off the top multiple times. The keyword is almost.
Getting punished.
That's right.
Now it may be Sphinx leaving this open, hoping that he can find like sword neutral signature. It's certainly not in the state that it like used to be when it was really, really absurdly strong. But maybe he's hoping for that. If Vortex is going to be floating above him, he can find some KOs, grabbing him out of the sky. Hasn't found it so far. Like he's found some decent sword damage. Like he's going even, but I just feel like Vortex is still seemingly in control right now.
Well, Sphinx has the edge guard potential here. Not able to get the downer, able to still cover with the cell. The downer is still a little bit too far back and not going to be enough to connect here. Vortex playing with the sword himself at the moment. Okay, let's see if he can get the D-Light. Let's see if he can get the recovery to take the stock off the top. Sphinx going to be looking for, at this point, just the recovery as well. Looking for his side light maybe.
He doesn't even want to throw the D-Light out. He'd rather bounce pass off the wall to try to hit and then go for the D-Light into the crowd pound on the edge rather than play sword the way it was designed to be played. That's so funny.
Okay, guess what? Sphinx has, for the first
working.
time in the set so far, a stock lead. Now, it is a very volatile one, but if anything, we're seeing the most amount of fused... Okay, hold on. Okay, we're back to split chakrams, but that was the most amount of time that we saw fused chakram, I think the whole day.
There you go. That's exactly what I was looking for right there. The extended range down air and then catching the side air with the bounce after that as it like brings you back up. And light, looking for the next option, but then Vortex just taking all that space. Sphinx put himself into the corner. Vortex is taking full advantage of it, able to get a recovery, hunting it down again, fully drifting in with the recovery, and so Sphinx was able to get a very slight punish for it. Yeah, Vortex did that like 3 times in a row. It's like go for the recovery, then drift back in. Go for the recovery, then drift back in. Go for the recovery, drift back in.
Goes out there for the ground pound, looking for the end sig, not going to be able to connect it.
He had great positioning on that neutral signature too to like put him back on the corner rather than just up against the wall.
Yeah, Sphinx is getting a lot more comfortable with his spacing as the set is going on. You're seeing him really respect like the range on like side light from chakrams, on downer from chakrams, on recovery from chakrams, and he's respecting it that time around. The most important thing is that you don't get hit. The downer into the cell is not going to connect as Sphinx just ends up dodging in. He's able to get the end light. Vortex is off stage, eating the weapon toss, and now all of a sudden Sphinx has all of the momentum that he needs.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Like you're pointing out one really important part of this is he's like learning more how to play against Chakram and specifically like Vortex's Chakram. So he's waiting for the move to come out and he's understanding more how to punish it now, so he can play sword a little bit more safely than just like being the initiator or being like the spot dodger into the GCD light or something like that. So yeah, it comes from a lot of understanding how to play against Chakram a little bit better than before. And then same thing as the first stock KO. Right over on the right side, down air, brings you back up into the side air for the KO.
Yeah, he's the first down air just to make sure that Sphinx had his dodge used up. He played it safe, he went for the reset. Sphinx gonna be looking for something crazy with that GC sidelight that could have been worse for the both of them. Vortex has just about evened up this game. Downer, Sail, he's going out there again. Sphinx is taking a beating off stage.
It's a fair bit of damage, so he's only about like 50 behind right now. But it still can be a lot on the final stock, especially if Vortex almost has him in the red, chasing him high into the air. Going for the down air. Oh, he's not able to pick up the side air here.
Oh, the recovery is still going to be able to hit from behind. Sphinx was left weaponless for just a moment. Vortex going out there, a relatively safe end-sig. How does Vortex get the stock off the top? Well, is Sphinx going to be able to make this comeback? He leans out there for the downer. Sphinx,
there it is again.
Is that going to be it? Yes, it will be. Wow.
And that's the problem that like pretty much every single weapon, one of the many problems that every single weapon has against Chakra is contesting that down air. It is so difficult to contest that down air because it doesn't even like move you down at all. You cover in the air. It's this long beam that comes down below you. It brings them back up. It brings your opponent back up to you where you can throw the side air out and get that KO. Like it's just you really can't contest it with almost like any weapon out there. Like Blaster's Nair, a fantastic neutral air, covers so much space, very difficult to contest Blaster's Nair. But if you're going up against Chakram, it feels like the Chakram player is going to win that more often than not, for sure. And that's one of the things that Sphinx was struggling with there, is contesting that down air. 3 stocks in the exact same place, the exact same way. Down air into the side air, down air into the side air, down air into the side air.
Yep, but with that being said, I do want to just give Sphinx a good amount of credit, especially towards like that last game, because it felt like he was really adapting to the pace. He was really adapting to the spacing from Chakrams. Like, you saw him begin to consistently whiff punish Vortex again and again. He was outspacing him, he was outplaying him, and he was really respecting a lot of his moves. But at the end of the day, I feel like Vortex's edge guarding was a little bit more solid, because even as many times as he went out there to go find like a downer, he didn't get reversed all that heavily. You know, he wasn't that threatened. Even the times that he ended up getting hit, it wasn't any hits that ended up becoming a KO. Whereas the amount of times that he kept throwing out downer, eventually one of them would connect. And if Sphinx didn't have a dodge, well, that was just going to be a guaranteed sider every single day of the week. Vortex kept putting himself in a favorable position off stage. And that means that Vortex is going to be moving on to Grand Finals, where he will be fighting the one that sent him down there to begin with, who is Keith. Keith took him down in a 3-0. It was pretty, you know, it was a 3-0. It was pretty dominant. It was pretty heavily favored towards Keith. How do you think it's going to go this time around?
I think it's going to be a similar thing. Keith just seems to be on fire today. Like, he's the top guy in SEA. He's PR1 going into this. We actually have a really interesting spread here in our top 4. And all the like Chakram haters out here are gonna like look at Sphinx placing well and kind of turn their nose up at it, but like in reality, like, he's PR3, right? Like, he's a top 3 player in this region. We have PR1, which is Keith. We have PR3, which is Sphinx. We have Tiger and Vortex, who are both PR12 and PR18 respectively. So like, both of their PRs are absolutely going to jump up to the moon after this. So I'm really kind of liking the spread that we have in Southeast Asia right now, between like these 2 top 3 players and then like a 12th and an 18th. It's a very interesting shakeup. And the 12th and the 18th are not on Priya, by the way. It's only Sphinx who in our top 4 is on the Priya.
That's right. But it is going to be Keith. It is going to be Vortex. On the Priya, we'll be probably seeing the return of the Priya Ditto. And it just felt like between the 2 of them, again, Keith's spacing was just like that much better. It felt like between the 2 of them, Keith was the one that was a little bit more patient and neutral. He was the one, at least in winner's side and winner's finals. He was the one constantly waiting for Vortex to throw out a button, especially when he was fighting against Petra. We saw Vortex with like an orb and light or something every single time. Keith was right there in the best possible position to go ahead and punish that. So we'll be seeing if there's a repeat of that. We'll be seeing if Vortex could play to Keith's pace a little bit better. We'll see what happens in his grand finals. Right now, we're just waiting on the legend picks. And so I feel like this is kind of like setting the tone for the rest of the weekend. I feel like we're going to be seeing a whole lot more Chakrams. The Chakrams are not going to be stopping anytime soon. There's no reason, well, anytime soon for this weekend specifically. Afterwards, though, when the patch comes into effect, I have no idea what the state of the game is going to look like.
I think it's going to be a mass exodus off of Chakram. I still don't know how many people are actually going to play it this weekend, or if it's people who are going to be like, yeah, you know, I played a couple ranked games on Priya. Chakram's pretty much freelo, so I'm just gonna, I'll just lock in Priya and it'll be fine.
Did you see what was happening in South America? At max mode?
And then you go up against like a real player, a real Chakram player who's put some time into it, and you're like, oh, okay, never mind. I'm just gonna go back on Mordex in game 2.
Yep.
That's what I think is going to happen from a lot of people, specifically in North America. I'm going to say Europe gets on board. I'm going to say North America halfway or a third of the way gets on board, and then some of those players, like game 2, are instantly like back on their main, on the level 75 Mordex or whatever people are playing now.
So yeah, everybody, we're going to be jumping on into the grand finals. So it is Keith that is going to be sitting in the winner's side. Knocked down Vortex into eliminations. Vortex ended up getting a 3-0 over Sphinx to be able to fight his way back up here. And let's see how it ends up playing out. Game number 1 of the grand finals. Keith going to be picking up the sword immediately and then throwing it away because there is a Priya on the screen. And if there is a Priya, that means no sword, all chakram.
Oh, he's able to still pick the Chakram back up. Yet another weapon stripped from the field from Vortex. He's able to grab the Chakram here. It definitely feels like Keith has so much more aura here. The way he's moving, like his APM is like way up compared to Vortex.
Oh, Vortex popping out that GC side. So Keith with an amazing punish using that end light. That was just perfectly spaced. Vortex was in just the right position above him.
Yeah, it feels like he knew exactly how to use that correctly. Vortex had like corner control, and he's actually doing a great job of catching Keith as he comes in for the landing and moves back to the stage for safety.
Vortex with a jump call out with a side A, goes off stage, amazing, but it's still not enough to be able to get the stock. The downer into the cell is not going to be able to connect that time around, and Keith, he's looking for his side sig. Vortex finds a side sig, but that wasn't enough to actually KO, which I'm kind of surprised about.
It was all the way from the left side of the screen, so there was just enough distance to cover for Keith to be able to survive that one. Vortex, he's shown his Priya, at least so far in this game, seemingly much more practice than Keith. I can't remember if that was the case that we talked about earlier. Level 24, yes. So Vortex has more time on Priya than Keith does. It's level 24 to level 15 that we mentioned earlier.
We'll see what Keith is going to be able to make happen. Going through the weapon toss up, picking it back up, probably going to be tossing it away in favor of the chakrams, but Vortex just ends up picking it up anyways.
Sword is back. You heard it here first.
Well, Swirly needs to get this KO first, and so how do you do that? Well, the answer is a D-Light, but that's not going to matter. The Chakrams are back on the screen, Chakrams are back in the game, and Keith going to be taking out that first stock off of Vortex without taking too much damage.
Yeah, Vortex definitely have a really strong showing game 1. That had to have been a misinput in the direction that he wanted to throw that weapon. I'm sure he wanted to throw it back towards the stage, closer to where Keith was, rather than just like over onto the left side. But Vortex, I mean, he's showing that he's more practiced on Priya, at least so far. That could all change very quickly, but at least so far he's showing that he's the kind of more practiced player.
Vortex is beginning to overshoot really well. Keith is the one that's trying to play back, trying to play second beat, not initiate first, but then Vortex is spacing and has, like, his aggression has been succeeding so well for him. So, let's see what he's able to do here. Oh, they're both jumping around each other. Vortex able to find a recovery, catching Keith's whiff. Getting the same exact punish.
Oh, he almost got a sick read with that neutral signature. Oh, he almost got the spacing on that too. Keith wasn't able to punish it though.
Landing with the side A. Vortex has the stage control at the moment, continuing to opt for the chakrams. He's looking for that D-Sig finisher. The recovery is still not going to be enough to be able to take it off the top. Keith has been left weaponless. You can't really punish that side sig, but he goes out there for the downer, and that was enough. That was enough to actually do it.
He
oh my goodness.
Picked up the down air at like the exact spot he needed to be stacked enough to find the hit, but not too stacked to where Vortex was able to touch the wall and reset his jumps. Interrupting the recovery there was so huge, but Vortex still absolutely in this game. He has maybe 60 damage on this stock. He was able to turn around and get the KO very quickly. If he can keep Keith weapon starved or force him onto sword for long enough.
Let's see what he's able to do. Okay. Vortex just going up with the recovery, dealing so much damage onto Keith, has now evened up the game. Let's see if he's able to pick up a lead for himself, not able to get the double downer. Keith is gonna find it instead. Gets the N-Sig as well. Vortex is in a nasty position off stage, goes through the weapon toss, splits the chakrams once more, able to get the recovery. Vortex has not been able to get himself out of this blender.
Ooh, I don't know if he meant to put that down air into the stage as sort of like a bait, or if he meant to go over right along the wall and just misinputted that. If it's a bait, that could be very interesting. Oh, okay, the D-Sig comes in, and that time Vortex is not able to punish it with his own Sig. A D-Sig, again, that time it does get punished. We have last stocks red here, Dara.
That's right, Keith is the one that is left weaponless, jumping away into safety, playing this as slow as he needs to. He tries to go for the recovery, but Vortex just says, hey, I've got Chakram Downer. That's gonna outspace you every single day of the week. Keith continues to be starved of a weapon, throws out the neutral layer. Keith, you cannot punish that side sig, you're too far back. Oh my gosh, Vortex does it.
He does it with sword. The side air. Oh my gosh, it's a high damage game. 644 damage from Vortex. That's just under 215 on average per stock. That is, part of that is Demon Island. I'll give him credit there for part of that being Demon Island's fault. Same thing if you're on like a Mos Eisley, but there is a little bit of KO inefficiency.
Fault. It's that's just kind of how split chakrams end up going, which is if you're not finding those like super early stocks off the top, which we actually haven't seen today yet. We've seen a lot of attempts to do so. We've seen a lot of the vertical combos. We've not actually seen it result in somebody getting knocked out. Then the answer is downer, sider, edge guards potentially, because nobody wants to play them fused. Nobody wants to play them fused. Everybody wants to play them split, and so we'll be seeing a lot of that KO inefficiency, just like you mentioned. So Sword, in that case, I feel like is a little bit more consistent at finding those KOs, but we actually haven't seen any D-Light recovery whatsoever. It's just been straight hits from Sword, I feel like, more than anything. So we're going into the next game. Vortex trying to get something going here. Again, nobody has been losing their stock off the top. People have been relatively safe here.
Yeah, it's like all of the extended strings have started just a little bit too early in the stock. If they were a little bit later and you're sort of getting into that orange territory whenever they, by the time the actual string is over, that's when you find them being taken off the top. But they've really only been in like the very beginning stages of yellow, so they don't have enough variable force on it to take off the top just yet. Okay, Keith barely touching that corner. You saw the sweat beads coming out.
Goes for the recovery. Vortex not going to be able to punish it. You have so much drift on recovery. You can make it so ambiguous. Look at the horizontal distance that Keith has on it. They're not able to touch each other.
Yeah, we talk about spear, like recovery being the helicopter, but it really does feel like Chakram recovery lets you be the helicopter with how far you can drift left and right.
That's right. Helicopter 2. Vortex, though, he is coming up in the stock lead once again. He's doing a lot better than he did in all of Winners Finals.
D-Light recovery! Thara, we saw it! Sword is back!
We saw it. So it is so back. We've just gotten nostalgic for, well, maybe it's actually too soon to say nostalgic for Sword D-Light recovery, but it's just been a while. There's been a lot of chakrams on the screen. Keith has evened up the game. Now the question is, can he even up this damage?
Ooh, okay. Keith. Started that one off with a neutral light. He's probably been using neutral light better than Vortex has been so far as one of his like main starters into the juggle. Whereas like Vortex is starting a lot of his juggles either from the dare or he's starting it essentially aerially.
Mm-hmm. Side light, end light as well. Goes out there through the side, you're not going to be able to get it. Tries to chase dodge up and look for the downer. They're just exchanging hits. They're going blow for blow. This game is just about as even as you could possibly ask for. Somebody's going to side zig sometime soon. I feel it.
Yep,
okay.
There it is. you called it out. You couldn't even finish your statement. You were so on.
Oh, my God. Okay. I felt it. Whenever the player just gets like a little too impatient about getting the KO, they're like, I'm going to side zig and it's going to be ambiguous, but I see it coming. Oh, okay. Vortex with the sword side sig. Nicely done. Able to take it off the side. Once again, holding on to this lead.
Okay, kind of babysitting Keith back to the stage. The recovery coming out. Ooh. Big whiff on that side light. Let's see if Keith can juggle and get the KO here. There's the recovery. We have a much more even game than I expected.
Mm-hmm. Side light, end light, side A. Looking for the reset. Keith just able to get some good damage. Vortex gonna be looking for his opening now. The startup of downer ended up getting called out. Vortex almost finding a nasty downer recovery, but he was up a little bit too high and not able to actually connect it.
Yeah, he's been finding some good down airs to contest Keith as he's sort of like going on that like neutral air recovery ladder up to the top. He's been doing that kind of more than I've seen some of the other Chakram players who are just like trying to panic and get out of it as quickly as they can, whether that's using their dodge. And Vortex is using the down air as a weapon there as well.
This is like watching two Beyblades fight, you know, the entire time. They're just, they're going at it. They're looking for the same things. Oh my gosh. Keith looking for the downer, able to get the sidelight pickup still. Vortex dodging up, finally going to be able to pick up the sword. But the question, is it too late? Keith goes out there for the edge guard. Vortex gets back on for only a second to only eat another cell. Is he going to be able to make it back on? And the answer is no, he is not.
I guess his dodge was not off of cooldown in time. Like, I saw him throw his weapon away, and I was like, a little bit confused by that, just because you might have the GC side sig as a potential option to get over to the wall. Like, that would give you more than, I think, anything else that he could do in that moment. But I guess he burned his dodge. We see it on the replay. Yeah, okay, he burned his dodge there. I thought he burned it a little bit earlier, like some players will do. But it probably, at the beginning of his recovery back to the stage, wasn't off of cooldown from, like, the last time that he used it, so he had to use it late instead of using it early, so that you can hope to get 2 dodges by the time you get over back to the stage.
So going into game 3, this feels like the most doable set, the most doable position for Vortex between the two of them so far. I'm trying to think about, it's so difficult to like really figure out like what differentiates the two of them, because when it comes to Chakram, I feel like stylistically nobody's really doing anything too different at the moment. They're looking for the same things, they're looking for the same exact openings, and the question is who is just able to have like more ambiguous drift, who's able to have the recovery safer, and who's going to be the first one to take that early stock off the top. We'll just have to find out, because that I feel like is a lot of what Priya is constantly looking for. That is the constant X factor that she has, and nobody's gotten that yet.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's single moment based, as in like, oh, Keith is gonna find like a nasty neutral signature read, or Vortex finds like the side sig that he wants to hit, as opposed to like, oh, these two players are playing Chakram differently over the entire course of the match. And that's like, if we think back to, that's kind of the way that Scythe was originally when it came out. Like the two people originally like playing Scythe successfully and like pushing Scythe were mostly playing like Nair Sair ladders, and that was their setup. It was Inlight, Nair Sair, Nair Sair, Nair Sair, all that kind of stuff. And they were playing the weapon very similarly, and now we see as the weapon was like mastered over the years, like then the skill expression comes out. But initially, like people play it basically the same because they know it works.
Oh, Vortex looking for the recovery. Again, not enough to be able to take this off the top. Keith is so behind. Vortex has an amazing lead. The recovery is going to be able to do it. And this is the biggest lead that we've seen from Vortex so far. He's picking up momentum.
Yeah, this is huge. Keith's first weapon after respawning. Okay, that weapon spawn came in a lot more quickly than I expected it to, so Vortex wasn't able to get over to that. I thought Keith was going to be weaponless after picking up the first sword, but it's not really a problem. Okay, could be the setup for the edge guard. Out comes the recovery.
Oh, huge damage off the top here. Keith going to be going out there again, able to finally get the punish on the down air. That is huge. You want to stay below the platform. Priya is definitely not the strongest above a platform when it comes to her landing, because the down air is not able to go through it. So you're able to get almost like a little bit closer than you normally would.
We're even seeing like that ground pound that just came out from Keith on Chakram. Like, we haven't really seen hardly any ground pounds whatsoever, except from Vortex that we saw last game. And so he sees, like, Vortex do that, and he's like, oh, that's a new thing that I could do, and then he does that. So even, like, when Vortex will take, like, a step forward and do something he wasn't doing previously on the weapon, Keith, like, also, he's right there in lockstep with him. So they're both learning the same things.
Hey, whiffing the sidelight, that's going to be a bit of an opening for Keith here. What's it going to be? Again, they're both just mixing up their drift after these recoveries and after these downers as much as possible, and they're guessing a little bit. They're guessing on like each other's momentum and drift, and they're both just kind of looking for like the same leads, you know?
There's the neutral signature. Beautiful grab, reaching back towards the stage and then sending to the right side. So that's exactly the territory that you want to hit that in.
Sidelight and light. Keith waiting. Vortex landing with a downer.
Yeah, Chakram, they really are just like a lot of it is a game of drift.
It's just about having that ambiguous drift and being like, hey, do you think that you can punish me here? Or are you just gonna whip something in my face and then I'll be able to get a punish on you? So it's just about like constantly baiting that from your opponent, and they're both looking for, honestly, the same exact thing here.
Yeah, you even see that in their punishes, right? Like we saw one moment earlier where like Vortex initiated with the side light and then it missed, so Keith counter-initiated. He punished with the side light as well. So they're both looking for the essentially the same things, whether they're like turn 1 or turn 2 of the initiation.
Okay, nice wait though, just catching the dodges down constantly. The D-Sig through the amazing coverage. Is this going to be it? Is Keith going to be able to make it back onto the stage? Vortex is holding it down, backing up, giving him a bit of space. And Light is a get off me option. Beautifully done. And now all of a sudden, this is not impossible for Keith, but he is very behind in damage.
Throws that away instantly, doesn't even want to like fish for the recovery. He'd rather go unarmed recovery, grabs the Chakram. Man, Keith has to play like basically perfect, and he's not able to, of course, because humans are not perfect. And Vortex finds the side air for the KO. 616 damage, so still relatively high damage, up 205, a little bit over 205 per stock, compared to Keith and 366. If you add, well, I guess that's about the same. If you add probably the 180-ish damage that you'll take, you're getting close to that. So relatively high damage numbers games, and that's what you were talking about earlier. Sometimes if you go to like a Mos Eisley or a Demon Island, it's even more, but regardless, you're still going to have higher damage games because they're only playing split.
Yeah, that's right. They are not going to be finding, immediate KOs off of like a heavy attack or anything anytime soon. And then some of the signatures, they don't tend to always be the strongest either. We're seeing a lot of D-Sig attempts, but the D-Sigs have not been actually connecting this set around for either of them. So we're going into the next one. We're going on to Demon Island. So if you liked high damage numbers and you like long games, well, Demon Island is going to be probably the continuation of exactly that. Keith finding a huge 3-piece, nicely done.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see more signatures this game. Like we saw like a D-Sig last game that missed. We also saw like Vortex's neutral signature connect on Western Air Temple and actually get the KO that we talked about. I wonder if that will be the case here, and they're looking for more of the left and right KOs rather than vertical KOs off the top.
Yeah, we have not seen anything off the top this entire day today, which, again, I want to emphasize, that is super, super atypical for Priya. Like, this is typically the thing that she's getting once a game, at minimum once or twice in an entire set, and we have not seen that at all today. Vortex picking up the Chakrams once more.
We've already seen several neutral signatures come out from Keith, so he's looking for the signature KOs so he can get those KOs a little bit earlier than just relying on light attacks, and he's also looking for things that send left and right.
Again, just the ambiguous drift. The N-Light is able to successfully punish the downer, and that is going to be it off the top. Finally, one of those stocks gone. Keith with a very gentle lead for himself, a very delicate lead. Vortex picking up the sword, going through the weapon toss. Ooh, that's going to be a punish.
He's just going to run away. He's going to completely shark until he can get over and safely grab the weapon. Once that sword leaves his hand, he's definitely he's getting out of dodge very quickly. They're both going to recover over the corner, onto the wall. Vortex, he just didn't have enough. You saw the sweat beads come out. Like he wanted that KO off the top. He was sticking around. Oh my gosh!
Huge damage. Oh my goodness.
Vortex is really starting to fall behind here because Keith is adding this damage up. Almost a full stock lead, and Vortex just can't find the KO moves. He's adding up like one hit, but then he's taking 4 or 5 in the process, and he's already behind. And that one hit he finds is not a KO move.
You can see Sidesig. It's able to actually connect. It's able to sweep in. Vortex able to go ahead and find that KO. Wow.
I think that signature gravity cancel is probably like pretty solid, but I just don't think it's the like best thing against specifically Chakram because they are up and down. They're in the air so much. So if you GC it and you're playing against someone who's like more grounded, potentially like a greatsword, you can get over some of their moves. Okay, Vortex getting some momentum here, at least on his side in the moment. But the potential, yeah, there's the bounce pass There's the down air into the recovery for the KO off the top. But yeah, if you're going against a more grounded player, someone who's not playing Chakram, then like the GC side stick on sword could be solid, just a little bit off the ground to get over their low moves. But against Chakram, you have to make a lot of guesswork based on where they are, whether they're on the ground, whether they're in the air, they're up and down, one jump height, two jump height, up and down, up and down.
Landing with a downer, able to get a save. Vortex going out there again, able to find that two-piece. He goes out there for the edge guard, which is so dangerous because Keith always has that reversal potential. Vortex does make it back on mostly safely, though. Being patient, eating the side light, eating the end light.
I'm waiting for Keith to potentially come in with a ground pound. Now, we just saw Vortex do the ground pound. He may not have to do it. Maybe able to take it very soon after Vortex is going to whiff a neutral signature right in front of his face and think he can get away with that. Would disarm?
The back hit of the D-Sig, not enough to be able to KO, but breakdancing on him. Vortex is finally able to take out Keith's second stock there. Keith has been keeping up a pretty consistent lead for himself. He's been finding consistent KOs off the top. He picks up the sword. What's it gonna be? He's looking for the D-Light. Vortex not anywhere near the ground though, and just able to find a big downer punish.
Keith forced onto the sword here. Weapon spawn comes in right as he throws his sword away. Vortex is going to play around it, swap him out. Great strip. Keith is going to be looking for the weapon. There it is. This is very scary for Vortex. Oh, he waits and gets the reaction of the KO off the top. Keith forces the game 5, denies the reset at least so far.
Yeah, Keith, he has established an early lead. This is almost completely the inverse from the last game. Keith ended up dealing 660 damage. Vortex only ended up dealing 440 over the course of that game. He has just been so much more consistent in getting the damage up, and then he found the KOs where it mattered most. Again, one of the big difficulties with Priya is that it can be difficult to secure like those final hits, to be able to get those stocks. That time around, even if they were on Demon Island, Keith was just able to find every single setup that he needed. He got him. He connected every single recovery that he needed off the top at just the right damage. He made sure that Vortex did not live long enough for him to be able to make a comeback on those deep red stocks. So, it is game 5. It is grand finals. It is Keith sitting on a winner's side here. If Vortex, of course, takes this game, it's going to be another set coming up ahead of them. And if he takes it, he takes it all.
So on that stat screen, I don't know if this has been the trend. I just noticed it specifically on that last game, but Vortex is throwing out a lot more. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to see something on the top. No, again, it's just a little bit too early. Just a little bit too early in the stock. But Keith is throwing out more attacks, significantly more. About like 25% more, at least in last game, than Vortex was, but he was hitting significantly fewer of them. He only hit like 20-ish of his attacks last game compared to Vortex, who had a higher accuracy but fewer attacks, but he's still hitting more attacks. So Keith's attacks that he's hitting are just more impactful than the ones that Vortex is hitting. So Keith is finding the KO moves when he needs to find them, and Vortex is just finding damage moves when he needs KO.
That's right. Oh, Vortex, that recovery was somehow still not enough to be able to do it all the way up there. Sidelight, Endlight, Keith is waiting. He's waiting out the dodge. Vortex is looking for any possible safe landing that he can get. That recovery is basically going to be unpunishable. Sidelight ends up whiffing.
Nice.
Keith, the D-Sig coverage from behind and above.
I wonder how many dodges that covers, because it seems like it covers like several of them. I just wonder the exact number of how many that it covers.
Yeah, I got a number for you. It's called almost all of them. Yeah, I think the only thing is maybe probably not like away. That'd be probably the only thing, but yeah, I'm surprised that it hit that high off the top.
I would imagine like straight up gets you away, up and away gets you away. I would imagine maybe even left, or sorry, away, just left and right gets you out of that as well.
Ooh, okay. Looking for the Endlight, looking for the double. Not going to be able to get it. Vortex whips another recovery. Keith respects it that time around, and Vortex is finally able to find one of his own to get that stock. Vortex
not too far behind here. Keith is going to come in with the sword, instantly thrown away. It does hit, but he's not really super focused on going back and grabbing it to essentially throw it again until he gets the weapon spawn.
Yeah, he's not getting close to Vortex without chakrams. He's like, that's fine. I'm just waiting for my weapon at the moment.
Another recovery as well. Okay.
Vortex going through the weight, looking for the call out, not able to get it. Lands it a downer through the platform. Recovery. That's another Endlight setup here, just dodging up and jumping up and away. Vortex was able to successfully reset neutral, sidelight, Endlight, desig coverage, doing exactly what Keith did to him in that last stock.
Man, they're so even. Keith is just a little bit ahead. I get both of them looking for the down air. Over to set up the edge guard to get the side air follow-up. There's the recovery from Keith. Not enough just yet. Throwing away, grabbing the chakra back again.
Able to
Ooh, that's a nice
recovery.
disarm.
Still not enough, though. Oh no, the side sig, it's able to reach, it's able to lean over a little bit too far to the left side of the stage. It's not going to be able to KO there. Keith, the exclamation marks, the stage yelling at him to get back on. He was out there, he was off stage a little bit too long. That didn't KO.
They're even now.
Being so patient. Keith just barely...
He's not going to grab it.
What is he doing?
He's not going to grab it, because then he's going to be without it when he spawns back in. He'd rather just wait to spawn back in and get the weapon that he chooses. Now there are 2 spawns on the field.
Huh. Oh, okay. Vortex almost going to be sneaking out a really early stock, though. Keith, he needs just about anything to go ahead and close this one out.
Okay.
There
That's
is.
exactly what he was waiting for. Gonna juggle the weapons to delay the next spawn. Is the next weapon for Vortex Chakram? Okay, it is. Because there was that weapon spawn in the field, and I thought he needed to prime it, but the fact that he didn't made me realize and believe that he's definitely keeping track, and he knows that Chakram's coming next. This is
down
gonna be it. Okay.
They're going. They just kept switching positions. Oh my gosh.
I thought that was gonna be it there,
That could
but
have been
again,
either of them.
we pointed that out earlier as like Vortex kind of shutting down some of that aerial momentum. He even does it right there. It clashes out, but shutting down the aerial momentum with the like instant attack for the down air. Rather than trying to like just get greedy and steal the stock off the top, he's like, I could lose my stock here. So I'll throw out the down air, and that's the best choice. Smartest choice.
The side sig, it called out Vortex successfully. He's off stage. Keith tried to cover with the end sig, but the platform was up a little bit too high. Vortex was able to get back down safely. The end sig was not enough to KO. This is last stock each. Game 5, Keith able to pick up the chakrams, able to get the side air, has Vortex off stage, and he's able to do it. And he did it fused.
He denied the reset in Game 5 of Grand Finals. Wow. He did it fused. Wow. Keith the Poo-Poo coming out here on top. He is your Southeast Asian
to get they're gonna get struck down. You know, Icarus flew too close to the sun, a little bit too strong at the moment. But otherwise, aside from chakrams, I feel really confident about the weapon balance and the weapon diversity that we're seeing from a lot of like the top players from each region at the moment.
Yeah, we saw some good stuff today. Who did we all see? We saw Val. That's crazy. We saw Val. Somebody played Chakram, and we saw Val as the answer. But we have more Brawlhalla for you right now coming at you. You alluded to it earlier. You mentioned Middle East. I'm going to be sticking around to see what those players have for us. It's coming up here in just a few moments. Thank you so much for joining me on the desk, Dara. Take us home.
Yep, everybody, hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. Stay tuned for Middle East. We'll have Polly and AJ coming up really, really shortly. And once again, congratulations to SEA. We'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Stay side. Aight, whether you ready or not. Nothing less but a no that is test is a test that you will be exposed. Game tight solid, rock to the top. Game tight solid, rise to the top. In a moment, every second that you find on the clock, champion on a mission and no stop. I see through your eyes like a window. Nothing inside, no heart when it gets cold.
What's up, Brawlhalla, and welcome back. You're watching the Spring Championship, and we are going to be moving over into the Middle Eastern and North African region. My name is Polymonto, and I'm joined here by a very special guest. It's AJ Moore. How are you feeling, dude?
I'm doing all right, my man. We are going into top 6 of MENA. I love seeing these players play. It's always a very unique region to kind of see play styles with. And we're now in top 6 of that region. And we've got some really cool players to kind of see today.
Yeah, and I think I've had I've been fortunate enough to cast ME almost every single time that we have had a tournament in this region. So I've been absolutely blessed with a lot of gameplay from this region. And as you mentioned, it's always a blast to get to cast some of these players. We're starting off right off the bat with an absolute banger. We're going to be looking at what Fixel and Comr are able to do in the winner's side of the bracket.
Yeah, for sure. Comr is a PR1 for, or actually PR67 for SEA, but I think PR1 for MENA. A very powerful player overall. But going forward with that, I mean, they're going against FXL. FXL, I know for being MENA and being a powerful player. They beat Poe not too long ago, who was C2. So, I mean, I want to see what both of these players kind of do against each other. The last time these players faced in the World Championship, Comr won 3-1 and actually won the event in the Winter Championships by beating FXL and going through the bracket. So we'll definitely have to see how it goes going into this game number 1. But players are locked in. They're choosing maps a little bit. We'll have to kind of see what happens coming out of them, but it should be interesting for sure.
Yeah, both of these players have been swapping with one another of who has been winning some of the tournaments here in the ME region. Both are definitely powerhouse players, and we're going to be seeing a Vortex Ditto up here. Of course, a legend that both of them are very familiar with, that we've seen both of them play a lot. And all right, let's see what they're able to do. We're going on Demon Island.
We're going on Demon Island right now. We've got both these players choosing the double Vortex going into it. And FXL is going a little bit crazy with this gauntlets. Does a nice little string, a bunch of neutral lights going back and forth. A lot of unarmed gameplay coming as well from FXL. And FXL with downlight neutral air. It's a neutral light. And is playing a little
gravity cancel
a little bit. And FXL is kind of showing off a bit. Oh!
All right, trying to get back onto the stage. FXL doing a good job with that edge guard, but Comr is able to slip by. He catches that dodge. Neutral signature to follow up, and that is FXL with a pretty strong lead. You mentioned it right as the game started. FXL, he came into this game looking pretty aggressive. I mean, he's looking for a lot of extensions off of his hits.
Yeah, FXL's been doing very, very well at, you know, being an aggressor against Comr there as well. So we'll definitely have to see how it turns out. Look at the side gameplay going to a 3-piece combo already. Already has his opponent down into the orange of their second stock. Gets that sidelight. Has been going back and forth. Oh, ice dare coming in.
Trying to get back onto the stage. Fixel able to get past Comr's edge guarding there. Now on to another Scythe mirror as we have swapped positions here. FXL trying to keep Comr off the wall. Opting to go over for that unarmed. Instead, it's going to be the gauntlets to get the stock off. 3-1. FXL with an amazing first game so far, and Comr is playing from behind.
Yeah, Fixel over here has been doing overall really, really well at keeping this huge lead over Comr here. And that was this is first game so far, and we're seeing a lot of domination coming in from Fixel here, and trying to be able to go and maybe do some more damage build up against 3 stock. But if you're Comr here, your main goal is to go ahead and get some type of combo. But when you're seeing Fixel come in and do his combos, it's hard to do it, but he does get that silent recovery. Go ahead and launch Fixel down into the second stock.
All the way down into orange, though. I mean, yet again, we mentioned it at the very start of the game. Fixel looking aggressive, looking for these extensions, and he is finding them, AJ. Fixel with an amazing first game here, and I mean, that's gonna do at least a little bit of mental damage. I know these players, I mean, they're both on the top of their game, incredibly good players in the ME region, so they've probably played against each other a lot. Whenever you have that level of experience, these kinds of setbacks rarely have that much of a mental effect, but that looks scary.
Yeah, and another thing to bring up as well that I actually saw in the bracket earlier is Comr faced Itami, who's seed 4, and went to game 5 against them. For Fixel here, they went ahead and beat Po 3-1, who was second seed and is now facing Comr now. So I think when it comes down to momentum, Fixel's definitely having that. We're seeing that with this 2-stock lead. And he's trying to go into grand finals. He's really trying to get that momentum. He doesn't want to have to go through the elimination side of the bracket. And we're just seeing some nice gameplay, but we're seeing a lot more back and forth going into the second game.
Yeah, but I mean, as you mentioned prior, we've seen this season before. This is a rebroadcast. We saw this matchup in the Winter Champs 2025, and in that game, Comr did take it 3-1. So anything can still happen, and we cannot be too quick to discount anyone here. First stock right now looking quite even, as both of them are trying to set something up in neutral here.
Definitely, both trying to take that platform control, or trying to throw the other person off the ledge and try to get those knockout opportunities whenever they see fit. And right now we're on Demon Island, so it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to knock off that ceiling. That's why you see that downlight and recovery did not knock out. And you're seeing Fixel there actually does get silent recovery.
Oh, nice.
And does get knocked out, and Comr's got the lead at the moment. Oh, Fixel then following up with the same combo, unarmed, it makes it even.
There you go. Probably sticking to the scythe here. Yes, indeed. Has been very successful with his extensions, racking up a ton of damage here. Comr is going to go get those gauntlets, though. He caught that dodge. Fixel is trying to get a reverse. That was really scary. Oh, but Comr still didn't touch. Okay, he's able to make it back. Man, isn't that just Vortex versus Vortex in a nutshell? Getting us really scared for no reason whatsoever.
Well, and what's happening now too is both these players are throwing out like light attacks and not landing them. There's a lot of recovery frames being thrown out around where the other opponents can have opportunities of punching them, and we're not really seeing a whole lot of maximizability on that at the moment. They're just kind of exchanging back and forth here and there, but I mean, they had like a whole period of time where they were just going back and forth throwing stuff out. So they're definitely becoming a little bit more careful now. We do see the silent recovery into a recovery coming in from Comr there. And now he's taking the lead a little bit. Definitely a lot better of a difference there between the first game into the second one here.
For sure. I really like what you said about both of them throwing out a lot of attacks. It feels like both of them have really good approaches and really good baits, but neither one of them really has that defense to one up the other one and really make use of all of these missed attacks. So I guess in their pacing, they are quite the same in that way. They're quite similar. Right now, Comr is the one on top of this paradigm. Fixel trying to go off stage. He hits the D-light, not able to follow anything up though. Can Comr get some extra damage? He gets the side light in, but it's not going to be much. Fixel gets the knockout.
He does indeed, and we're down to 1 stock all on Demon Island. This is a big deal for Fixel. If he goes ahead and takes this stock knockout, he's going to be up 2 over Comr. But if Comr goes ahead and takes the stock knockout here, it's going to be an even 1 versus 1 in the set. So both players definitely trying to take that advantage, trying to take that neutral control of the platform. You're kind of seeing them dash dance a little bit here and there. We do see Comr come in with the gauntlets. Fixel does come in with a follow-up with some scythe gameplay. Almost gets drop out, and Comr knocks himself out, going against Fixel off that ledge, and Fixel is going to be up 2 games over Comr there to go ahead and go into the set. And if you're Comr, you gotta be like, okay, I gotta win this next 3 games back to back. What can I really do? And this is a ditto. Both these players are knowing Vortex really, really well. I'm wondering if there's gonna be any character swaps from Comr. I don't think there will be, but I'm just wondering because I mean, he did a lot better in the second game though. It was down to the wire. If he didn't have that exchange off that ledge, he would have definitely won that possibly. But we're going to game number 3 though.
For the longest time, that game felt like it was Comr time, you know, like for the first half, especially whenever you compare it to the first game, it's like, whoa, okay, he really stepped up. He's ready to take on this challenge, and then Fixel is still able to just absolutely deny him that victory in the very last moments. As you mentioned, we are seeing the same legends coming out from these players yet again, and I mean, I am gonna say though, if Comr was able to make that kind of adaptation in the second game, maybe he's able to find what is necessary in this next one to be able to finally put himself on the scoreboard. Or is Fixel going to be able to 3-0 his way into Grands?
Yeah, now what we're seeing currently is we're seeing Comr really get aggressive with that scythe and is like outspacing Fixel in a couple different options. And he's actually not throwing out as many light attacks where he can kind of get punished. So we do see that neutral layer weapon throw into a GC side light, and it does knock out Fixel. And we're seeing a totally different game than we've seen in the past 2 games of the set.
Okay.
Okay. Nice neutral light.
Massive lead right now for Comr. Able to rack up even more damage as he's evening this out in terms of the damage as well now. Sticking to the scythe, able to find the end light. Yet another one. Did he catch the dodge? I think so, but he wasn't able to find the D-light follow-up.
That dare just did not throw him down whatsoever. Clipped the ledge. And as I say that, we see Comr come in with a scythe ground pound to get Fixel knocked out on the second stock off that ledge. And now we're seeing a totally different game from Comr. That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, dude.
Fixel
We're
with
back.
that insane scythe combo, and that is the way you do that, ladies and gentlemen. Showing your dominance in game number 3 there. I mean, good lord, they're already going straight into map strikes. Like, I mean, if you're Comr, you're feeling good right now. You really are.
Dude, I told you he might have found what he needs to find to be able to reverse this and finally put himself on the scoreboard. He didn't put himself on the scoreboard. He put himself on the highlight reel, AJ. We're so back. 2-1 on the board. Comr is here to play, and we're going to game 5.
Yeah, right now, I mean, as we get into game number 4 here, if you're Fixel, you gotta find a way of countering that aggression coming in from Comr. You gotta make sure you don't get too aggressive against those light attacks. You want to kind of bait those out and kind of do these counter options. But at the moment, we're seeing Fixel kind of throwing these light attacks out and getting punished a little bit. And you're seeing Comr trying to take that platform control in the process as well. But now it's scythe v scythe. Fixel gets a neutral layer, gets a ground pound there as well. That side gets the dare as well. And Comr is about first stock. Okay, there we go.
There it is, Fixel. Now also showing that he has some skills here on the offstage, able to get a pretty early knockout. Only in yellow right now, make that orange.
Gosh.
That's so good. That's so clean. With the weapon throw into finding that dodge. Fixel, I love that option.
Hey, I kind of call that the stairway to heaven when it comes down to the scythe gameplays. But as I say that, though, we do see a weapon throw knockout from Comr on the Fixel. And, you know, when these players are really laying these scythe neutral layers and building that up, I mean, that stairway to heaven style KO is really, really powerful and does a lot of damage buildup. We see it a lot in different regions as well, outside of MENA. And as I say that, though, we're seeing Comr go ahead and come in here and try to do some damage against Fixel. Does get the side light, tries to get a follow-up option. Fixel stays in the air, gets double neutral layered into a neutral air, into recovery, into a side signature, but side signature misses, allowing for Fixel to get that side light, but doesn't get that follow-up right afterwards. Oh, there we go. He gets it right afterwards after that, though.
Able to find that knockout. Probably sticking to the scythe now, yeah. As soon as he has the ability to, he usually likes to favor the scythe instead. Actually throwing the weapon away, trying to keep this weapon starve alive for as long as possible. Is he going for that one, though? No, he's able to find the short string instead. Getting a little bit of damage. Recovery comes out, and that's going to be the knockout, though. Even the ground, but Comr has the weapon advantage. It's the scythe, and I mean, I'm already getting a little bit scared.
Yeah, and this is a big deal for Comr as well because he is down 2. If he loses this stock, as they say that, he may not lose it because he's already dominating Fixel the way he is off that ledge. That off-edge grab pound lands and Fixel is out. Comr is bringing this set into a game number 5 and having the possibility of him reverse 3 gaming Fixel in the winners finals. And that's why you show yourself, man. That was very, very powerful. Going back through replays as well, I mean, you saw a lot of really good domination. It went even on the final stocks, and after it went even on the final stocks there, Polly, it was just domination.
Yeah, I mean, Comr looking super, super good. There's definitely been some form of switch here, man. Yeah. I don't know what to say, but FXL, I mean, he was looking very good at the start. He can still make the comeback happen. He's had a lot of time to adapt at this point.
Yeah, he did, and it looks like he's adapting with a new character pick, which is going to be the Fate as well, and maybe it's like one of those pocket picks he can kind of throw out there. He does have that as 8 damage Fate as well, so he's going to be able to do a lot of damage buildup. He does have the orb sidelight side air, that's true, that a lot of players tend to really throw out.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens.
Okay, we have a big swap here coming out from Fixel. Of course, Fixel, in this matchup, I mean, if there is anyone I would expect to swap their legend, it would be Fixel. They have a slightly wider repertoire from what we've seen than Comr. And this Fate coming out, I'm excited to see what it's able to do. Is it a desperation pick? Or could they make something happen? The orb is looking pretty good right now, dealing quite well with Comr's Scythe. GC anything was a nice idea, but not going to lead into anything.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot back and forth currently. We're kind of seeing, oh, nice little signature coming out of Comr there, unarmed. We do see a Gauntlet GC downlight, but gets punished by Fixel. Gets a two-piece combo and picks up that orb, tries to get that dare, but gets a falling cider instead. And Comr is going to go down into that second stock.
Okay. Always sticking to the scythe here. Comr on the respawn. Fixel trying to look for that anti-air. Weapon throw comes out into the weapon throw. Fixel is so good at using those weapon throws. We've saw it before with the Stairway to Heaven, of course, which I was a real big fan of the combo he set up. Now also with his weapon spawn, he's really good at finding weapon throws and making sure he gets the most out of them.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of really good weapon throws coming out of them as well. And now we're back to Scythe v Scythe, and I think, if I recall, Fixel won that at one point, but also Comr tended to dominate it in the last game too. And we're starting to see a little bit more of that control because we have Fixel on a final jump there, and Comr's coming in crazy with that two-piece combo, almost knocking himself out, allowing for Fixel to come back, but the offense ground pound misses. That was a huge whip, and it had a lot of recovery frames, allowing for Fixel to recover.
That D-light he went at the very end of his off stage. If that hit, it would have been crazy. But Fixel is taking it back. The weapon throw sniped is gonna get the stock off 2 minutes into the game, and Comr's already on their last stock. This is so fast paced, AJ.
It is. It's a lot of back and forth, and that's the way it has to be, especially if Fixel wants to do more damage buildup. He can't let this momentum go away from him. He's got to go ahead and do this combos like he's doing into weapon throw, into orb neutral light. He's doing some neutral layers here. We're seeing unarmed gameplay from Comr, so he can pick up that scythe. And Fixel's main goal is to go ahead and just continue this damage buildup and get this KO after the final stock.
It's never too late. I mean, it's never too late.
It isn't, and Comr's got to go ahead and do some sort of knockout option right away, but misses that unarmed recovery, gets punished for it, gets weapon starved as well. Jump cider lands, picks up that scythe, and we're going to see a possible knockout option. Fixel lands a second ground pound off that ledge, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Fixel goes ahead and beats Comr to go ahead into the grand finals on winner's side. And shows that, hey, you know, those game 3 and game 4, they happened, but he was able to bring it back with that Fate in game number 5, that pocket pick, and showed his worth there. So very nice job coming out, Fixel.
Yeah, Comr got so incredibly close. We had amazing games coming out from Comr, but then to fall short right at the finish line is very, very tragic indeed. But of course, I want to remind all of the Comr fans that Comr is not out of the tournament just yet. Just moving locale, going down into the elimination side of things, where we are going to be able to see them fight later, and potentially, if they win down there, make their way back up to the rematch. What an amazing set to start things off, AJ.
Absolutely. And that was a game 5 situation, and that's the best place to do it, in the winner side finals of this bracket here. And it was close. And I mean, based off of the momentum that we saw from Fixel going against Poe, based off the momentum that Comr had against Tommy and some other people on his side of the bracket, I mean, I knew it was going to be a really close game. Comr almost did a reverse 3, but afterwards, I mean, Fixel came in and just really continued that pressure in that final stocks of that game. And Comr was doing a little bit of rebuttaling, but got really, really punished, and Fixel went ahead and advanced. So congrats to Fixel on going into Grands, but like you brought up, Comr will be on a little bit later. But who we have next coming up on stream here? Oh, we have Introvert.
Man. I was hyping up Poe before we even went live. I mean, if anyone here has watched MENA, they know I'm a Poe fan. I'm a massive Poe fan. Poe's cannon playstyle is one of the most entertaining cannon playstyles in my opinion. I love watching him play. Introvert's out here, of course. OG EU player, which now, of course, is able to play on much better ping in the MENA side of things. So I'm kind of split right now, AJ. I love both of these players. This is gonna be painful for me, I think.
Yeah, I've met Introvert at a couple lands as well. He's a great guy and done very well when he's been at the events, especially for his where he plays in EU and for MENA. But I want to see what Poe. I mean, I recognize Poe as well. I mean, they've been crazy with the cannon. I remember seeing crazy combos with them with the cannon. And then I want to see what Introvert's Lance does against Poe, though. Because, I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot of Lance gameplay in most of the regions. So seeing Introvert launching that out with the Vector and also having Bow, that's going to be...
I was just about to say, dude.
How it's going to be
like,
turning out.
Can we get some recognition right now for in this Chakra meta that we're having a Zola versus Vector right now on the screen? This is crazy. In any meta, having Vector versus Zola is a crazy matchup, and I'm all for it, AJ. So far, Introvert here is on the winning end of this matchup. Nice signature to be able to get that first strike.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, right now, Introvert's trying to use the range of that Lance to kind of out-prioritize Poe's range with that cannon, kind of be able to get some neutral lights there, kind of be able to sit back a tad bit. Poe does get that two-piece combo. Introvert gets the downlight neutral air into Dare. Nice little three-piece string. Poe gets a little bit of a string of his own with the cannon. He picks up Axe, tries to web starve Introvert. Introvert goes unarmed gameplay, picks up Lance, and starts dominating again with the Lance. As I say that, Poe comes in with a double downlight. He might have a KO opportunity here. He does because of the missed attack. Gets that Dare, gets a neutral light, and knocks out the side of the map.
There we go. Poe with some amazing chip damage, but he was, as you mentioned, struggling just a little bit to find that knockout. Some situations he had a Seer ready to go, but he went for a Dare instead. So some small mistakes, and wow, that dodge, able to not get hit by that signature. Very tight timing by Poe. Second time around though, Tahir is going to be able to connect it, swapping over to the Lance, and we already know we're going to get to see some of those signatures. But what is this? Poe getting ready for some cannon action, getting Tahir down into orange. I know he wanted way more, but he's going to have to make do with that.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, you still have Introvert Tahir there with the a little bit of a damage lead. Poe's going to try to knock that out with that cannon range. Gets that Silite there, but that bow neutral air lands. And I have a feeling we're going to see a downlight neutral air. And it does land, and Poe goes down into that final stock. And this is a relatively close game for game number one.
Yeah. Yeah, Poe was really able to tie that up in his second stock, especially whenever he was on that cannon. Now he has the axe to try and find this knockout. Looking for a hit. Nice weapon throw by Tahir to make sure he doesn't get hit by a D-light or an N-light. Poe can't find the finishing blow.
Yeah, it's interesting here too, and I think the last time, I mean, these guys have played against each other previously too, and if I recall, Poe had that advantage, but it looks like Introvert Tahir is doing really well at kind of baiting these attacks out. We do see Poe come in with a cannon backward sider though that launches Tahir off the ledge and gets knocked out. But it's one stock all. Tahir's got a half stock lead, but with cannon, anything's possible. But as I say that, Lance Sider does come in clutch. It's going to lead into a knockout opportunity there from Tahir. Tries to do a signature, thinking Poe's going to jump right into it. Just a lot of movement, a lot of dodge dancing here. Trying to get away and just trying to be able to outspace the opponent. Dare does come in. Misses the knockout opportunity, gets the Dare option, gets the neutral air into neutral sig, but misses the neutral sig instead. Throws the weapon away, picks up Bow, gets the down signature, and Tahir takes game number one over seed number 2, Poe of MENA. And that was a relatively close, very, very close game there. It could have gone any other way. And I mean, Poe's cannon was going crazy, but just wasn't able to get those different options. And the range that Lance offered with Tahir there was phenomenal. So very nice job, but I mean, what do you think we're going to see in game number 2 from these guys?
I don't know, man. I'm going to be completely honest. In neutral game, it looks like Tahir was running circles around Poe. As you mentioned, he was able to bait out those attacks and just consistently punish him. And I mean, I'm definitely surprised right now by the outcome of that first game, but I'm not opposed to Poe potentially being able to take this back. Of course, we saw that massive string that Poe was able to get. Thing about Poe in that first game is whenever he did get something, he got a lot of something, and he got a lot of damage. If he's able to just be on the winning side 10% more, that's Tahir losing like 2 stocks faster.
Yeah, so we'll definitely see. I mean, it looks like Poe's kind of changing his playstyle a little bit. He's been able to knock Tower down into the red of that first stock already. Tower does come back with some rebuttaling damage, and now swapping back to that bow, trying to do a little bit of bow damage and maybe go with the down signature again with Vector. But Poe expects that, gets that GC downlight into neutral air, and Poe is definitely a lot going into the second game a lot better than what he was in the first game here.
For sure, massive difference. Able to pick up that read, wanted to keep going on the ground, but he wasn't able to find anything. Just eagerly looking for any follow-up off of any move that he's getting. But Tahir able to get a knockout with that signature. He's swapping over to that lance, which he will be sticking to here, as Poe is trying to find some punishes here. Now, as an Axe main, or as an avid Axe enjoyer, I gotta say, this matchup I would usually very heavily favor toward the Axe player, but Tahir is playing it so well.
He knows the range of that lance so well, and he's been able to kind of out-prioritize what Poe's been doing. And Poe's been also throwing out these attacks very quickly to the point where I think they're just kind of throw-out attacks, and we're seeing Tahir really punish those. Poe does go ahead, though, either way, get that cannon dare knockout on Tahir and have a little bit of a lead. But if Tahir picks up that lance again, I think that was the main thing that was catching Poe in a little bit of an issue. Almost got that 3-piece, though, with that signature.
That's close. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Difference. Oh, nice signature coming up Tahir, but he almost got gimped there.
Yeah, that was incredibly scary, and Tahir is a little bit shaked up by that. Now, both players on stage being very, very careful. Tahir able to find that recovery, which is going to lead to the knockout. He's down into yellow, which isn't that big of a deal, especially considering he has the weapon advantage. Down into orange now. That GC was so scary, and Poe picked up a cannon right beneath him. That could have been devastating.
It could be for sure, but I think he kind of knew Poe was going to sit back and try to regroup and do some sort of string, some damage build up here and there. And now you're seeing Poe dash dancing. He's kind of trying to bait Tahir into attacking because he knows he has to attack, and he's been getting really good punishes. Picks up the axe, gets the axe neutral light, throws weapon white, picks up cannon, backward dare, does not land, but neutral air does, and Poe takes game number 2 into their name with a lot of really good control of that ledge with that cannon and the axe.
And I think we've got a set on our hands, AJ. And now, if I know any of these players correctly, I don't think we're going to be seeing that many legend swaps. We're seeing, of course, the Vector locked in from Tahir immediately. Poe, I don't know if I've seen Poe play anything other than Zol at this point.
I think he every tournament he's played, he's really played Zol. Like, I think it's like 35 sets that he's had. Or I'm sorry, 26 sets that he's had on stream. They were all Zol. So. But it's interesting, though, because now we're seeing Poe starting to adapt against Introvert, Tahir there. I want to see what Intro can kind of do in regards to adapting against that new playstyle that Poe's throwing out. It's like a mixture of dodge dancing and kind of baiting him out a little bit. But I think Poe has the most difficult time against Tahir's lance. And we're seeing that quite a bit, especially in the past 2 games. So if Tahir's able to get that lance more often and use bow as like a KO option with that bow down signature, that would be the best option for him. But I think you just want to play a little bit bow. He's kind of showing his skill set a little bit now with it. But Poe has so much range with that cannon. He can just get punished into this string so easily with that bow option if he picks it up. So he's now over to lance. Does get thrown off the ledge. Misses the signature. Has a lot of recovery frames. And Silent Cider comes in, and Poe now has that lead.
Another thing as well, I was just going to mention it. We get to see that side signature, which gives me a really good segue. Those signatures are not hitting anymore. Like, they worked in the first game. In the second game, Poe was really playing around them quite well. He saw that, oh, Tahir, you love using these signatures, don't you? I'm going to try and space them out and punish them instead. Tahir now already in this third game. I'm not sure if he's 100% realized that these signatures have been getting slightly adapted to. We aren't seeing them get used as much, but I think he's going to have to pay the price if he continues overusing them. And Poe, I mean, what is happening? What is happening, AJ? Where did Tahir's HP go?
He was
nice.
firing Tower a lot, but we do see Tower coming with that lance side air KO, which is very nice, especially off that ledge, which will lead to some really nice KO options. But what Poe was doing was he's almost like a step ahead of Tower, and Tower was trying to adapt and wasn't able to really do so. We saw that with that nice little string with that cannon from Poe as well, and Poe is currently up an entire stock over Tower there. And even with the lance options, I think Tower's allowing for Poe to get that platform control where he can regroup and do those strings. And that's a big deal. If Tower's able to take that platform control away from him, Poe's gonna be more confused. He's gonna be in the air. He's not gonna land those attacks as much. And,
there we go.
Oh my gosh, gets that 4-piece combo onto Tower there. Gets that recovery, gets the down lane there again. Tries to do a signature this time. Tower counters that, misses his own signature, gets neutral aired. He's so down in the red of that final stock.
There
and
it is.
down like neutral air lands, and Poe takes game number 3 into their name, giving them the lead in the set, 2-1.
Poe got like 15 attacks by the end and didn't even get hit once. I mean, like, Poe is in their flow state right now, and I don't know if Tower is going to be able to stop him, AJ. I'm starting to get a little bit afraid.
I think he can stop him, but he's got to find a way against that aggression that Poe's having against him. Tower's starting to be like, he's trying to push in a little bit more with him, and I think it's leading into issues where they are having a rough time adapting to that aggressiveness, and we're seeing some really nice combos coming out of Poe, but that neutral control is such a big deal for Cannon with the strings. So if he can kind of keep him in the air a bit, that would be the main thing. But using that lance, using that platform control, doing the string build-up damage with lance, that's a huge deal. And I want to see what Tower plays. I don't know if they're going to be playing lance again. The lance was working. Maybe they realized that the bow wasn't the best option, and they might be going to a different lance legend, maybe, because they're still deciding their legend currently.
Yeah, I definitely think Tower is probably still going to be on the lance. We are seeing the vintage Tower pick coming out. You can already tell both me and AJ are excited. Should we tell the viewers? Are we gonna have to wait, or are we gonna make them wait until the game finally starts?
We're gonna make them wait, but that is a very nice color red on that character there, and they're figuring out maps now. And we're going to Demon Island. Oh, hold up, there we go. Tower's picking the OG Scarlet, level 100 Scarlet to be exact, and they are gonna try to use that hammer a bit more. It seems to kind of use a better secondary weapon than fully relying on that lance, and also it's a whole new signature set. So maybe if you're Tower, you're like, okay, he's adapted to the signature set of Vector. Let's go over to Scarlet and see what we can do with that.
Swapping over to the OG Comfort pick to try and see if he can make something happen here. You can already see the hammer putting in great work so far. Poe is not able to touch the ground, but as soon as he does, he's able to find a lot of damage of his own. Tower is struggling. He finds that dare on the way down, though. This is, I feel like there's been such a vibe change, AJ. Like, Tower is really putting himself out there right now.
Well, Tower feels a lot more comfortable being aggressive because he knows different attacks will land, and he's not whiffing a lot of different attacks. He wasn't last game, but he was worried about throwing certain things out, I feel, because he wasn't comfortable with them landing, which held him back. But now when he's on the Scarlet, that OG pick, you're seeing a lot of like risky gameplay. It's landing. Poe does pick the axe recovery, though. Has Tower off that ledge, tries to get that backward there, but actually gets the backward recovery instead, and takes a little bit of a lead. But Tower is doing a lot, looking like he's a lot more comfortable going against Poe and being aggressive, but kind of counteracting that over aggressiveness from Poe that he's throwing out. And currently it's 2 stocks all. Tower knocks out Poe's first stock, and Poe looks like he's having a little bit of a rough time against Tower's lance, but he's keeping up. But it's really close at the moment.
It is close at the moment. Poe is able to get a couple of strings, but Tahir is picking it up right where he left off, getting a couple of hits of his own. We're getting some intense neutral here as both of the players are trying to get the smallest advantage possible. Tahir now down into orange as he's getting thrown off stage. This is looking bad. This could lead to a knockout. Poe able to find the soft read. I'm holding my breath. Sarah comes out. That's going to be it.
Yeah, that cannon that Poe threw out, he kind of realized that he was out-aggressing Tahir with both of his weapons, and now Tahir's going to find a way against that aggressiveness, especially this is game number 4. If Tahir loses this, he's down 1 game. There's a lot of pressure on him, so you're going to see him throw a lot more riskier attacks. And like, for example, those signatures, if that would have missed, he would have had so many recovery frames to get punished on. But that Stomp Cider does come in clutch, throws that hammer, picks it at Lance, does the off-edge down sig, but doesn't land it. And Poe gets the punishment, gets that two-piece combo into that recovery.
There
and
it
there
is.
you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Poe is going further in this bracket, beating Taher 3-1 in a very nice aggressive fashion with that cannon.
Very, very nice first game from Taher, but Poe, as soon as he was able to adapt, I mean, it's been the Poe show since then, looking really, really strong on this Zol pick, and we are going to be able to follow Poe further into the bracket, but that is unfortunately going to be the end for Introvert Taher.
Indeed, and I mean, he did very, very well. I mean, he got 5th in this event there, and unfortunately had to face seed number 2 in the elimination quarterfinals too, so that's also a thing. But I mean, he definitely held himself up very, very well. That Lance gameplay from him was phenomenal. The signature sets he did in game 1 that he was landing was really cool, but towards the end of that first game there, Poe started adapting with that cannon. He realized that cannon aggressiveness was catching Taher off guard and took full with it. So props to them. We're going to be seeing Poe here in a second go against Itami, which is going to be interesting because Itami, like I brought up earlier, faced I believe he faced Comr and went to game 5 as well. So that's definitely interesting to see how Poe's going to do against that C2 versus C4. And the winner will actually go against Comr. So let's just say if Tommy does beat Poe, we already have history of Itami with Comr going to game 5. With that being said, though, I mean, that's going to be our upcoming matches when we come back from break, though. Is there anything that you want to say, Polly, before we go and head on out for like 2 or 3 minutes?
We're going to have some really good games, and you definitely don't want to miss them. So don't go anywhere, and we will see you in just a moment.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the MENA Spring Championship event sponsored by Brawlhalla. This is the 1v1 portion of Springs this weekend. I'm AG Moore. I am casting with Polly. We've had some amazing MENA events so far on broadcast here. We had a game number 5 in the winners final. We had a really close game between Poe and Tahir there. And now we're going against, we're actually seeing a matchup here, Polly, between Itami and Poe. And Itami, this is the first time on stream today going against Poe. We saw some Poe gameplay not too long ago, but what do you know about Itami there, Mr. Polly?
I mean, Itami, Wushang player, which has been playing in the MENA side of things for a while, as most of MENA players have been playing in the European side of things before. Able to get some fairly decent placements over there. I'm seeing on 97th. But in terms of their matchup history, Poe and Itami, Poe is really favored here, 6-1 in terms of the games.
He is, and I'm wondering to see what Itami can go ahead and do against Poe, because Poe is that gatekeeper for Itami of going forward in this bracket here. And, you know, they've already faced Comr a little bit previously in the bracket, went to game 5, so maybe that was kind of a sign that Itami was going to go a little bit crazy against Poe. And we'll have to see as we go further into this game, but we're on Small Fortress Alliance. We got the Wushang. We're seeing a lot of Gauntlet off-ledge gameplay. Threw their weapon away though. Poe is trying to maximize on it, gets a dare option. There we go. That's a smart move for doing it on a recovery to be able to have enough time to get that spear. Misses that follow-up option with the spear though. Tommy almost knocked themselves out, but gets a helicopter grab instead. Poe,
what is that movement?
And nice baiting from Itami though. He baited that dodge from Poe, and Poe had no way of coming back.
Yeah, 170 IQ offstage play by Itami, and yeah, the way he went all the way down with the spear. Look at okay. You overcooked. It happens to everyone. It happens to everyone. Sometimes you cook too hard and you overcook.
You overcook, but you don't recover in the time you recover, and that just happens. It's so unfortunate. But we do see the spear back though. He does come back with that spear. I've seen a lot of players specifically play spear fairly recently because it's in a decent spot. It has that medium range, so you can counter a lot of close range and long range combat with it. So now we're kind of seeing a spear recovery, neutral air, tries to do another neutral air right afterwards. But now he missed a couple different attacks, and Poe now has that momentum within those recovery frames to really push him. We do see a cannon side air there, and he might be able to get a backward down signature. It lands, and now Poe's up an entire stock over Itami based off of how Itami responded.
Looking very strong here, and he's setting up a string. He finds the read, goes for the weapon throw, but it's not going to connect. Itami trying to make his way back over to the stage. Down signature comes out, but Itami able to work his way around it. Able to catch him with a sidelight, but there's no dodge to be taken from Poe, so we're not going to be able to find any knockout. Poe, on the other hand, the same can't be said for him. He's getting closer and closer.
He is getting very close, but Tommy's missing that spear combo. He felt that.
Not on the main stage. Not on the main stage, Tommy.
But right now, spear neutral, it lands. He tries to get this knockout option. Poe gets that backward axe recovery. That will allow for Tommy to kind of reset a little bit and be like, okay, well, I don't need that to happen again. You know, I need to regroup a little bit. But looking at these replays here on screen too, I mean, we saw Itami try to go off ledge. He does get that first stock knockout, but then afterwards Poe comes back with that backward down air and then gets a side air into a backward down signature, which knocks him out of that second. And then after that one stock lead comes in play, Poe holds it very well and gets that backward axe recovery. So for Tommy, his main goal is to kind of make sure he doesn't get into that one stock disadvantage and make sure that he's throwing out these attacks in a proper way where he's able to follow up off of them and not give those recovery frame opportunities to Poe, because Poe has been doing very well today of punishing those recovery frames. But as I say that, Tommy is coming in with the combos, does get double dared, is able to touch that ledge to get their jumps back. And it looks like backward neutral leg comes in.
Looking strong.
This is that dare option. Allowing for Poe to get that team's combo on platform. Nice neutral layer as well.
Both of these players being so aggressive right now. Itami able to find the D-Light combo. Trying to go off stage, but Poe being very good at being using his options sparsely. Tommy's still able to connect with that signature though.
Well, and what we're seeing now too is Itami's been doing really well in the first rounds, and then Poe has been kind of rebuttaling afterwards. I think Itami, as he gets further in the games, he gets punished for missing his attacks, and Poe has his recovery frames to mess around with. So if you're Itami, you want to pick up the weapons, you want to be able to use them, but once you miss those attacks, and especially with someone like Wu Shang, where people know that character very well because it's been played so much recently, or in the past, it's something that you really have to consider because they know gauntlets very well. There was a meta with gauntlets in North America and other regions as well, and these players kind of been learning around it. He does use his gauntlets to get the silent recovery, but Poe comes in with that two-piece combo. Tries to get the axe instead.
That dare hits? Okay, that dare hits, by the way. Itami, what a beautiful combo setup into the three-piece, almost getting the knockout, and that is going to be the knockout. Itami, masterfully played gauntlet sequence there. Wow.
Yeah, gets that neutral into GC silent recovery, which launched him in the air there, and then he was able to get the follow-up knockout option on the Poe. But as we say that, though, Poe does rebuttal. He does get that cannon cider KO, and it's one stock all. And if Itami can kind of keep that string going, it looks like Poe's actually having a problem with these gauntlets a little bit, and he's starting to run into some things. Because he's over-aggressing. He does that. He actually did that, I believe, in the winter side, if I recall. So
and the GCs too.
Ooh, nice side air. Yeah, GCs too. Yeah, he's been throwing them out. Crazy to be aggressive.
They're making me a little bit scared. Making me a little bit scared, and Itami is definitely there to punish them. Can he get this knockout? If he's able to even this out to 1-1, this would be massive. No. Itami, the next weapon is going to be the gauntlets. It's been the working weapon for you in this matchup, but Poe is on that cannon. He is getting closer and closer to finding this knockout. Can he find the reverse off stage? No, he's gonna have to go on stage, but his hair comes out. Poe baiting him with some movement and throwing that one out. Keeping it simple. That's going to be Poe 2-0 on the board. Looking super strong so far. But Itami, I mean, we gotta give Itami props. He had some really good moments in that game. And I'm gonna say right now, I am a very, very big Poe fan. I consider myself to be one of the biggest Poe fans, but I still think Itami might have this. I'm not going to count him out.
Itami was doing very well. It just comes down to what he does in those critical moments in the game. We saw Itami go for that three-piece combo with the spear, and I think that removed a lot of mental from him. So when he was trying to follow up on Miami Dome, well, those platforms in the air, he wasn't expecting Poe to go and get that KO option. So he's definitely got to be a little bit careful about how he's really approaching after something like that. It looks like Itami's mindset, his mental gameplay or his mindset when he's playing is a lot different, a lot more volatile based off of how he's reacting to some things. I think Poe is very straightforward. He's going to be as consistent as he's been with the cannon and the axe.
Yeah, for sure. You don't really know what to expect from Itami so far. Poe, on the other hand, we already know and love Poe's gameplay. We pretty much know what to expect coming out from the cannon. The problem is, it's really, really difficult to deal with, which Itami is demonstrating right now, playing so incredibly well, but Poe is still able to make magic happen with this cannon.
Yeah, for sure, and that's a big deal for Itami, because in the past two games, Itami had to lead, but now Poe's starting to get that. We do see Itami with that spear helicopter ground pound, but now
another
we're kind of
helicopter, maybe?
Oh, he missed the spear dare. He's throwing his attacks out there and missing. He's getting punished for it.
That's so nice.
Does land though. Does get that nice little read. It was really
so
risky.
Satisfying.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. He does get the spear dare into weapon throw now, and he brings it to 2 stacks all, but I'm trying to think of what he can possibly do against Poe to kind of get that lead again. And maybe now that he has those gauntlets, he can do those strings. Neutral air into Silate, recovering to neutral air lands. Oh, he runs no signature.
Way.
Oh,
no way.
So unfortunate. He expected the impulse jump. It landed into signature. Now Poe has that 1 stock lead as well. But he was fishing for it.
And he caught some fish, let me tell you. Itami, getting hit by that knockdown into their last stock. He finds that read though. This should be the knockout. It's not enough. He tries to go for the exhausted, but the neutral signature. What a beautiful recovery. Itami covering his tracks, and that is going to be evened out now as Itami has evened it out with the weapon advantage too. It's still doable.
It is definitely doable, and Itami was taking very big strides with the momentum that they had, and Poe was running straight into these spear combos. So now if you're Tommy, you're going to take full advantage of the momentum that you had, but he needs to be able to get that back again, and Poe's starting to take that away from it. And Tommy needs to get back to that ledge before Poe's able to kind of mentally recover here, take advantage of what he has. He gets a spear neutral layer, gets that
this is
neutral
looking so good for Itami.
It's going to lead into the sidelight, but he whiffs it. Poe maximizes on it. That's what we were talking about earlier. Poe got the grab up, misses.
No way!
Recovery lands. And Tommy's still in the air. Oh, Poe
There's been
misses
so many
there.
close calls. Itami picking up the spear, but the D-light nair is not going to be enough. Itami is still in the game. Weapon throw comes down. Is he able to find a sidelight? He gets the sidelight. Does get the read? No, it's so close. He had the right idea, but Poe was able to get too far away, and that's going to be a 3-0 as he's advancing in the bracket. That's going to be Poe going up against Comr.
Yeah, that game, man. I mean, we saw Poe do very well at playing off ledge and in the air. Tommy was having a rough time when he had that platform control, really landing a lot of these different attacks here. So we saw Poe maximize on those recovery frames, and it was just a little bit off with these sidelights, but it led into this big lead for Poe. And going even back on replays, we had the cannon coming in. Downlight, GC downlight, recovery, that second recovery misses, but then he comes back, touches, and does a GC neutral signature, which is crazy.
That was actually a dash off. That was a backwards dash off, I'm pretty sure. Even harder than a GC. A GC would have been like, oh, you know, that's pretty cool. The dash backwards off, I mean, Giga Chad.
Without a doubt.
5 ahead the move.
Yeah, but I mean, Poe, very nice job coming out of them. I mean, out of the signature, you see Poe threw 3 of them. And I think missed all 3, but we did see one signature land though with him grabbing him as well. So I do remember Poe doing some signatures throughout the set and catching Itami off guard. So I mean, Poe's definitely feeling comfortable when he was facing Itami. Itami was doing well, but he just didn't take control of that platform control to be able to do what he needed to do with Spear in those gauntlets, because they are such platform or map-based damage build-up weapons, in the sense of you need to be on the platform, you need to be able to do these sidelights, these light attacks that lead into that damage build-up. So, I mean, Tommy showed that on the second stock. I mean, after he got that combo, went straight into that recovery. Woof! But Poe's advancing further, and they are going against Comr there in the bracket here as well. And I mean, if you're Comr, you're like, hey, I don't like that I lost against Fixel. Let's go ahead and beat Poe real quick and get up there. But keep in mind, this is Seed 1 versus Seed 2 in the elimination
versus PR2
final.
as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like PR1 versus PR2 in the elimination final. The winner of this will have to face Fixel in Grand. So it's going to be really cool to see those players face against each other. I mean, they're PR1 and PR2 for a reason. So we'll definitely see what happens from them. But I mean, I'm just thinking of Poe style against Comr style. I mean, we've got Vortex. I mean, Poe might do well because of how aggressive he's been with the cannon, but it depends on how Comr reacts with his scythe against Poe's cannon as well, with the aggressiveness. Because we also saw that aggressiveness from Comr when he faced Fixel, and Fixel maximizes on that too with the recovery frames. Poe's been doing really, really well at that tonight.
Now, keep in mind, last time these two guys fought, it actually was in Grand for the Winter Championship, and they went to a Game 10, which Comr came out on top of. So these guys, I mean, from what we've seen before, that was the only time they fought in official tournament, actually. These guys are very, very close, and they're very, very even in terms of skill. Might I add, in that set, it was almost only Mordex versus Zol, which Comr swapping 1 game over to Asuri.
But one thing we have to consider too is, based off the grand finals of that, Comr came from the elimination side too. So with that being said, he won 2 sets to go ahead and beat Poe, who was initially on the winner side. So not only did he beat him in 1 set, he beat him in 2 sets that went to game number 5.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. So Comr, based off the Winter Championship, should have that advantage going into this. That's why he's seed 1 compared to seed 2 of Poe. But at the same time, Poe's been doing really well maximizing different options.
Good.
And he already has almost an entire stock lead. Dash down like in the ground pound lands from Poe.
Look at his HP.
I mean, he's barely touched.
This is basically a full stock lead at this point. Poe is looking amazing moving into this first game, and he's on that cannon. The cannon that we know and love, AJ.
Absolutely, and the cannon that we love, absolutely. And I think with Comr, he's going to try to use that scythe a little bit off that ledge. Gets that GC or the dash down light into recovery. Misses that second recovery though. Poe is trying to push back that platform, but missed that opportunity, allowing for Comr to get that scythe there and the neutral light into recovery. And now have him off that ledge. Misses that dare though, misses the neutral air, misses the ground pound. Those 3 whipped attacks allows for Poe to come back with axe. And lead into a dare, double dare, into a possible KO option from Comr. But lots of back and forth there. Does get that ground pound. But with Comr missing his attacks off that ledge a few times, it allowed for Poe to get a lot more damage build up. It's going to make it harder for Comr to really come back from.
Sticking to this scythe right now. He's able to find that GC though. That could be a lot of damage for Poe. Able to jump out of it. Is he going to be able to find it? He fishes for that down signature, but Comr isn't going to get caught in any funny business. Trying to catch the landing here, but the D-Light Nair is going to seal the deal for Comr's second stock. As Poe is sticking to this cannon, it's looking more and more like Poe is going to win this first game. Comr might have something else to say about that. He's got these gauntlets in hand, but that's such a massive streak. That's so much damage. He almost found another AJ. I can't look. I can't watch anymore. I can't do this.
What we're seeing is Poe come in with a lot of really good damage control over Comr. Is really controlling with that cannon. Comr's not really used to that aggressiveness so far in game number 1. He might be able to adapt to it later, but let for Poe to go ahead and do that falling cannon there to go ahead and knock Comr of that final stock. But I mean, they were 1 stock all, and we just see Comr. We actually see Poe come in with that cannon gameplay and just be phenomenal with that as well. Looking back at replays there, he even did a weapon throw into or recovery into weapon throw as well against Comr, and then Comr's like, yeah, you're not doing that to me. No, let's go back a little bit here. Let's rebuttal. And then I believe we see this is where Poe does that falling neutral air for that final stock. But I mean, that was a 2-stock. Hey, 2-stock game in favor of Poe, actually. I thought it was a 1-stock all. He was up 2 stocks by the time he won that game.
Yeah. And you know, AJ, I've said before on the broadcast, dude, can I speak? Poe, let the casters yap for a second before you try and go for another 0 to knockout. What is going on? Okay, AJ, I've said before in the broadcast, I feel like Poe plays canon the way the Brawlhalla gods intended canon to be played. Do you see what I mean when I say that?
I definitely see that right now. We're seeing that gameplay from Poe coming out, and he just is reading the impulse jumps, gets that cannon ground pound, and Comr is down entire stock right now, Polly. And you know, you're definitely right when it comes down to how Poe is playing cannon. And as I said, as soon as he goes over to Axe, Comr gets that side combo and does a phenomenal job.
You know, that's a sign. That's a sign. Stay off the Axe, dude. It's time for the cannon to shine. But Comr,
you need to pick up your weapon first, though. And Comr's like, no, you're not going to be able to. Poe barely touches to come back to that ledge. He wants to attack so badly, but you can see him dodging backwards to make sure that he doesn't do that and be able to pick up that cannon. We're seeing the gameplay now. Nice dodge read. Didn't get the punish though. Allowing for Comr to be able to regroup a little bit longer, which might allow him to get the KO option. Gets that dare down light. We're seeing Poe off that ledge. Poe with a dare.
No way!
GC. Oh, gets the reversal dare. Son. Poe having the opportunity of getting this knockout.
There it is.
Getting ground bound, ladies and gentlemen. And Poe is now having that lead with that huge reversal off that ledge with that cannon.
The knockout was close like 4 times for both of the players. I don't know what's going on.
Absolutely.
We saw Comr straight off the bat, so close with almost a scythe 0 to knockout. And then to finish it off like that, 2 minutes into the game. They're both on their last stock. This is incredible, and this set right here, this game right here, this is why I love MVNA. It's why I love these players, AJ.
Yeah, the style of MVNA is definitely phenomenal compared to what we're used to seeing, just meta-based picks, and we're seeing players just really play their favorite characters, and now we're seeing Poe play their favorite weapon and go absolutely bonkers with the
on stage
cannon.
ground pound. That's like the third time this game. That move is so disrespectful, but so good, dude.
Because it lands, like he's gonna throw something out that lands, and if it works, you know?
Yeah.
And now he's playing that cannon, now you see Comr come in with this Gauntlet, trying to do something against that cannon, but the cannon cider lands, and we might see a KO option here from Poe. Comr's trying to do a little bit more damage build up, and Poe takes advantage of that and gets that knockout option. And Poe is going to take that game into their name over Comr. And oh, it's a big deal for Comr, man. He's got to do a lot to go ahead and come back in the set.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like Poe has been hard at work, man. I mean, as we mentioned before, this is a matchup
on the replay.
Oh yeah, that's insane, man. I can't get enough of that clip. Poe has been at work, man. Poe has been at work, and it's definitely showing in this matchup right now. But has he been at work enough to deal with this surprise pick? Comr has had enough. He's done playing nice. We're seeing evil Comr come out right now, swapping over to the Taros.
I mean, Taros is definitely one of those pocket picks, it seems. We haven't seen Comr really play them in tournament. I mean, he's got no record in tournaments playing that Taros, but I think he's just tired of the damage build that Cannon has, so he's going to swap over to Axe, try to do that damage build up. It's in a really good spot right now, and then maybe have that hammer to go ahead and get some follow-up KOs as well. But he's definitely going to be prioritizing that Axe. However, we don't see Comr with that sight. That's a big deal because that's what he was getting a lot of his damage build up with. So for Comr, it's like that's a very big risk to do, but if he's comfortable with it, he can do it. But he's also countering Poe against his own weapon, Axe v Axe as well. But the hammer comes in, gets the GC neutral signature. Poe barely touches due to the dodge, and that neutral comes in from Poe, and Poe takes that lead so far.
I mean, whenever you see someone swap over to Taros, whenever they're just about to lose the set, you know things are about to get personal, right? Poe, trying his best right now to fend off Comr, and Comr desperately trying to see whatever they can do with this new legend pick. Down into orange. What a beautiful string by Poe. The Sair comes out, but he got that touch, so not going to get something massive off of it. Full stock lead at this point. Poe gets the triple piece, and that's almost a knockout.
Yeah, Poe does go and get the knockout option, and that cannon is just catching Comr off guard a lot, and he doesn't have a weapon to really rebuttal against that cannon now, so he's kind of stuck trying to do signatures and trying to do different attacks to get these KO options that have a lot of recovery frames, especially on Taros. Even though it does a lot of damage, does get that RMGC downlight into ground pound, but can he do a reversal to make it a possibility of going into game number 4?
Far way to go right now for Comr as he's down into orange. Poe doesn't need a lot to win this set at this point and move it up to the grand finals.
Yeah, and what Comr's oh my gosh, GC neutral signature coming in from Poe, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Poe is going into the grand finals on the elimination side, beating Comr 3-0. And I mean, that cannon gameplay was phenomenal coming out of Poe. If we go, as we're looking at these replays here up on stream, I mean, we really saw the KO options for Comr come out when the Scythe was played, but as soon as he went over to Taros, he didn't have the option game number 3, so it was a little bit difficult. Poe did very well. I mean, these were close games for the first two. Poe just was able to get those KO options, and then we see Poe in his final game get that neutral light, get that two-piece combo into recovery, doesn't knock out. It's a lot of really good KOs from Poe, and that cannon neutral air, man, and along with that sider has been phenomenal for Poe.
Well, you know what time it is, AJ. We're moving into the grands. We're going into the grands, but you know, before we're able to move into the grands, we're gonna build the hype up just a little bit for you guys, and we're gonna have to unfortunately move it into a very short break. What are your thoughts moving into the grand finals, AJ?
what are my thoughts going into it? We have Fixel going against Poe. This is going to be a fantastic matchup of Fixel's overall Vortex gameplay going against Poe's cannon. I want to see how that cannon does against Fixel coming out of Poe. But it's going to be a really, really good gameplay there. We're going to see the scythe come out. That was countering Poe a lot. So we might be in some really, really close games, but that is the grand finals of MENA coming up when we come back from our small little break. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
What is up, Brawlhalla, and welcome back. You're watching the Spring Championship, and we cut you guys off right whenever it was about to get really exciting. We have the grand finals up ahead. My name, of course, is Polymonto, and I'm going to be joining you for this final part of our adventure, our journey. And I'm joined here by AJ Moore. How are you feeling?
I'm doing all right, my man. We are now in the grand finals of this MENA Spring 1v1 Championship that Brawlhalla is running this weekend here. And, you know, these players have been facing each other off guard, like, nonstop. We see some really good gameplay from both these players in grand finals. But we have Fixel going against Poe. Poe has been on stream quite a bit so far in top 6, coming in from the elimination side and showing his aggressiveness with the cannon and his way of adapting to impulse jumps and, you know, recovery frames that his opponents have been giving him. But we have Fixel in the winner's side, who's been going phenomenal with that level 77 Vortex with that scythe here. And I can't wait to see how these players go against each other and see who's going to be given the crown of winning this event here for Spring Championship. So this should be really, really fun to see.
I gotta say, this is of course a rematch. Fixel beat Poe earlier in the tournament for a position in the winner finals side of things. Now, I also want to very quickly point out right now, AJ, that the Twitch prediction is almost completely split 50-50. It's one of the closest predictions I've seen. It's like 340k to 332k right now.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Both these players are very powerful. I think Fixel there being on the winner side of Grand Finals had a lot of time to kind of recharge. For Poe, he's got the momentum. So I think going into this first couple games, we're going to see Poe kind of show his worth there with that cannon. But we'll definitely have to kind of see as we go into game number 1 here. And now we're seeing a lot of back and forth. See, that's DC Silate, misses that recovery option. Nice neutral air into dare for Fixel.
Okay.
Oh, it's a neutral air side air. Having that gauntlet gameplay coming in clutch. Removing Poe's cannon, having Poe go over to the axe. And Fixel is controlling him, even with the momentum that Poe had going into this game number 1.
Okay. Going for the D-Light, not able to get a connecting move off that though. Poe setting up some anti-airs here. So many nairs where you're gonna need something to get that knockout. Weapon throw to interrupt that GC side knight was so good, but Fixel finds the end light, and that is going to be Fixel winning here in the very first stock. Is Poe able to find the stock quickly though?
I mean, we're still gonna see Fixel come in with some damage build up with that scythe, but Poe does come in with a backward reversal down signature there with that cannon. But Poe would have actually had the lead if he was able to get the KO option in the air. Fixel was in sweat beads, but he just couldn't throw anything out in time. So now we're seeing a little bit of a momentum change of what could have been Poe having this momentum going into the second stock. And we're seeing Fixel come in and launch Poe already into the orange. Poe is throwing out these attacks that are whipping.
Nice!
So it's
going all the way up.
Reason.
No hesitation. No hesitation.
Good grief. Fixel's coming in with that scythe gameplay, controlling what Poe's throwing out. Poe's throwing these light attacks out that are not landing. Fixel's punishing them and making sure those recovery frames are not in vain for them. It's a neutral light there. Another neutral light, tries to get neutral air afterwards, but neutral air comes in. Poe doesn't have a jump. Oh, Fixel actually saves him, allowing for Poe to get that 2-piece combo. It is now one stock all their poly.
I mean, Poe had a really good side quest, but Fixel is looking like the final boss of the tournament right now, AJ. I mean, we've been watching Poe for a lot of games straight, and we're like, wow, this player is really, really good. Almost like we're forgetting how amazing Fixel is, and he's just here to remind us, man. Poe down into red now. Can Fixel find the knockout? He gets the read, and that is going to be it. First game in the Grand Finals is going to Fixel.
Yeah, Silate GC Silate recovery was very, very clean coming out of Fixel there towards the end of that final stock. I mean, he's been going very, very dominant against Poe. He's been able to counteract that aggressiveness that we've been seeing from Poe. And we actually saw it from Comr when Fixel faced them in the winner's side finals. And Fixel really maximized on the fact that his opponents were being very, very aggressive, and he's been doing very good to counteract those. And with his also aggressive play style too, and he can fit that scythe in there wherever he can to kind of counteract that out. And as we go into game number 2, we might be seeing that more. We're going back to Demon Island though, so I want to see what Poe can do. He can have an opportunity off the sides of the map, maybe try to go for some sort of ground pound or. Bro.
He finds
Fixel!
What is this? What is Fixel? No, it's over. I can't.
Right.
I can't. No, you don't start a game like that. You don't start a game like that.
You don't, but we're seeing some more gameplay from Fixel. Dare into neutral air. We're going to see a dare, but he misses the dare. He throws it the wrong way, allowing for Poe to get a little bit more momentum. He throws a signature that has too much recovery frames. Fixel takes that platform control from Poe. GC down light into dare. It's going to lead into a possible KO option for Fixel, but the Poe now has Fixel in the red of that first stock. Anyone could have the lead in the beginning, but if you're Poe, you're like, I got to go ahead and take that lead.
Yeah, for sure. The early lead is very important for Poe, but Fixel is still able to get that. The Sair comes out, and that is going to be 3 stocks to 2 right now, as Poe is going to have to try and find a knockout with this axe. Fixel gets that dare setup.
Nice.
Quick knockout, though. Looking efficient with that knockout. Very, very important for Poe. Struggling a little bit on those knockouts last time around in the last game. He finds a read. He gets a ton of damage. That's down into orange. Finds the dare on the way down, too.
That was a smart move from him too, not really being aggressive after that string, just kind of sticking it in the air, allowing him to come back to that platform. Because now it's going to allow for him to have that platform control a little bit and get that 3-piece combo onto Fixel, because Fixel was just in this weird mental, he didn't really know where to land or really a way to approach. And now Fixel's down a deficit, but now we have a 3-piece combo coming in. Oh, but misses that final option for a KO option off that ledge. Comes back, gets the GC downlight, or actually gets a downlight with the scythe. Gets it again. Now Poe is in the air, comes back, misses that side air, and we're seeing a lot of side airs from Poe, and Fixel's punishing him very, very well on that. He gets that 2-piece combo KO, 1 stock all, but if Poe keeps on throwing these cannon light attacks out with the side airs, he's going to get the punish, but we say that he's changing his place out a little bit, sticking to the platform, gets that spring, and then gets that dare KO to go ahead and get game number 2 into their name, to make sure we have a 1-on-1 set currently ahead of us in grand finals. And you know, at the beginning we saw Fixel really have this advantage, Polly, and then we saw Poe start to really come in clutch there and change his playstyle around, and he got that 3-piece combo. He caught Fixel off guard, and look at that string at the end, then comes in with that dare at the end. As soon as he got that dare, Fixel knew he had no more jumps to come back, and he was done. Like, that feels like
it feels like Poe almost like he didn't adapt in between the games. He adapted mid game here in the second one. Around that second stock, a little bit also toward the last stock, and definitely paid off. We're seeing both of the players sticking to the same legends here now, though. Let's see if Poe is able to keep this up. So far, looking a little bit stronger than the first game, but it's still very, very close. And I mean, if we're looking at the grand scheme of things in terms of the neutral, I think FXL might honestly still be a little bit favored. Poe got a little bit lucky with some efficient knockouts, especially on the first and the last stock. Yeah. FXL is looking a lot more solid in terms of the damage buildup. I mean, look at that. Already down into orange.
He almost got that recovery option. He did it a little bit too late in that, or too early, in fact, and he was almost going to be able to get that KO off the ceiling there, but then Poe comes back, does the damage buildup, launches him into orange. Then FXL comes back, gets him into red, tries to get this KO option, gets that satellite, and is going to go for a knockout option maybe off the ledge.
Nice.
Misses the dare though. Poe now has cannon, but the neutral comes in clutch.
Very nice Sair, able to get that first strike, probably sticking to the scythe here. Looking for anything to get started here on Poe. He's able to find that end light. No dodge. He's going to get a lot of damage off that. The side signature comes out. The ground pound to get the punish. Poe, beautiful option, but you're still taking a lot of damage from FXL.
Yeah. It was a very smart move to kind of mess with Fixel's brain a little bit, to kind of make him recoup and allows for Poe to get that neutral light KO knockout on that first stock. But now that Fixel's back on second, you gotta consider, I mean, Poe is in the orange. Fixel can come back pretty quickly there and get that KO option, but also if Poe can land that string with cannon again, by catching like an additional jump read on top of his strings, it's gonna catch Fixel off guard. But Fixel's adapting quite well against that cannon now.
For sure. Adapting quite well against this cannon so far, and we're seeing that weapon on the ground just chilling. Neither one of them wanted to go for the swap until FXL goes for that scythe instead. Nice GC sidelight into Sair for Poe to get that knockout. He's so good at using GC sidelight, I've noticed that. A lot of cannon players might be underusing it if you compare them to Poe. He's really, really making maximal use of that move.
Yeah, and I think now it's like we're seeing Fixel go crazy with this scythe gameplay. He takes that neutral away from Poe, and Poe's missing attacks, and Fixel is just maximizing on that. We're seeing Poe be aggressive. Fixel started realizing he's starting to be overly aggressive. He's starting to backdash a little bit before he attacks, but it's allowing for Poe to still land these attacks and make it so close. And the final stocks of game number 3. Whoever wins this game will have the advantage in the set and have the possibility of either winning the tournament or going into a reset. It's definitely a very big deal for both these players. They know the pressure. Fixel knows that pressure, gets that two-piece combo, tries to get that KO option. That Silent comes in with that scythe. The weapon throw lands, and the gauntlets come out from Fixel. We're going to see a KO option, GC downlight into ground pound. Poe is not out just yet. Neutral lands, and Fixel goes ahead and takes the advantage in this set with 2-1 in his favor. So, I mean, Fixel did very well with dealing with that pressure. Poe was approaching, but wasn't landing enough of what he needed to. And that's what Fixel's known for. He's known for being able to adapt to that aggressive playstyle. We saw it against Comr, we're seeing it now against Poe, and takes that lead. But Poe is adapting, but he needs to be able to land those strings a lot better, or those attacks a lot better.
For sure. And I mean, it was looking like a really strong game for Poe in the very beginning. Fixel able to turn that around very, very quickly, though, as we also yet again, we mentioned it time and time again. Poe can get lucky a lot of times with how he's able to get these reads. All in all, if you're looking at the grand scheme of things, Fixel's neutral is looking a lot stronger in this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll definitely have to see what happens going into this game number 4. If you're Fixel, you're comfortable. If you're Poe, you're like, I gotta go ahead and win this game so I can go into game 5 and have a possibility for a reset. And if you're Poe, I mean, he's doing really well so far. Has Fixel in the orangey red. Gets that silent, misses that backward sider there, misses the follow-up, but does get that one attack and does knock out Fixel. But there was a lot of recovery frames Fixel could have taken an opportunity on. He just got really lucky with how he went about things. So Poe has got to be very careful with how he approaches them. Does get that sidelight, GC sidelight there in the air. Misses that recovery, misses that dare, misses that other attack, and Fixel is going to go in with the scythe and have that momentum now over Poe. As I say that, Poe says otherwise.
There it is.
Takes that momentum away and now has a 2-stock lead over Fixel. He wants to go into game number 5, Polly.
Yeah, there it is, dude. 2 stocks to 1 right now, as Fixel is able to get that stock off. He's sticking it to that scythe as well, but Poe has already gotten himself a full stock lead. He's been playing amazing so far. That's 1 minute and 10 seconds on the stock to get 2 stocks off, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. And these guys have been battling it out back to back to back, and Poe is just really showing his worth there with his axe and his cannon. But now we're seeing Fixel kind of changing his playstyle a little bit. He's being a little bit more aggressive. The dare recovery coming in from Poe, though, says
that's
otherwise.
So fast.
And we are going into game number 5 in the grand finals.
That's such a fast game, man. What is happening? Poe and Fixel are popping off both, AJ.
Yeah.
We're going to a match point, and we're seeing a legend swap. We're seeing it again. Fixel's fate is coming out.
Ooh, okay, so maybe he felt like since it did well against Comr, it's going to do well against Poe. But what is it? Scythe and it's orb. So you could do stuff with that orb a bit. You do have a little bit more true combos. It's a little bit more of that combo building based weapon. You do also have orb dare that has a little bit of range. You have the unique signature set of fate that people are not really used to because it's not really used to being played in events. So that's kind of why he plays it as his final pick. But they're kind of deciding what map they want to go to, and we're going to Small Fortress of Lions with Fixel on that new character pick, which is going to be interesting.
I think it's a very good pick. I think it's a very good pick from Fixel, mostly because, of course, Fixel's gauntlets are very strong because one of the selling points of Fixel's gameplay is his amazing reads. But what does Fixel have on over Poe in this matchup? It's his neutral. I've said it time and time again. His neutral is looking super strong in comparison to Poe, and so swapping over to Orb, which can be played in a much more bread and butter way than the gauntlets can be. And also, I mean, we're looking at some crazy extensions too. I'm liking this pick.
Yeah, I think for Fixel, it allows, since he's having so much platform control, that Orb is going to allow him to do a lot more damage buildup with his fate, rather than the other weapon that he did have. But as we're saying that, though, Fixel almost KO'd Poe with that signature. It was just barely a miss.
Nice weapon throw.
But Fixel definitely doing some really, really good hits there against Poe and really controlling Poe. Even though it's close, we do see an orb dare. He's been controlling where Poe is really having to go and not giving him time to breathe. And that's a very big deal for Fixel to have.
For sure. Able to get that nair in. Not going to lead to a knockout.
Nice.
The second one will, though. And that is going to be evened out on the stocks now with Poe having the weapon advantage. He's also priming up another cannon. Oh, he got the dodge. He got the dodge. Down into orange by just one dodge read. And he finds another end light. He got another dodge. It could be over, AJ. He's down into red at this point.
He is, and that sidelight comes in, but Poe is not letting these follow-up options. And as I say, that cannon sider lands. Fixel's down into the final stock. We might be going into a grand final reset here with Poe.
It's looking like it so far, unless Fixel is able to reverse here. He has 2 stocks to go. He gets something started on that side. He can't find another sidelight off the edge, though.
Yeah, if you're Fixel, you're not trying to be too aggressive. You're trying to, expect those attacks coming in from Poe. Poe is starting to be a little bit more passive here, realizing that Fixel's going to be a little bit more risky in a couple different things. But if you're Fixel, you just got to make sure you keep your stock the best that you can and you don't over-aggress. And I think that is a big counter for Poe, because Poe is used to being aggressive. And Fixel is starting to counter him quite a bit at the moment. Now we're seeing Fixel just pocket control that Scythe ground pound lands, making this one stock all. But can Fixel turn this back into his favor to go ahead and win the MENA Spring Championships?
It's not over until it's over, and we have definitely seen Fixel pull off some crazy things already this tournament. He's sticking to the side. He gets the dodge. Is he able to get something big? Poe is able to jump out of it, but he's evening out the damage. What is happening? Fixel is coming back right now, AJ.
He is, and he's starting to use that Scythe. He's starting to land his attacks, that Stairway to Heaven style KO options there. And he has Poe in the orange, but Poe also has Axe now. Things are going to change, but Axe neutral comes in from Poe. Fixel right now trying to find an option, but Poe with a two-piece combo. It's going to lead to also there, but Fixel with the punish. They're throwing attacks now. Poe gets that two-piece hit.
That could be it.
Sided with Orb. It could be it with that weapon change. Neutral light lands.
No options.
Ladies and gentlemen, Fixel is your MENA Spring Champion of the 1v1 side of things there, and that is the way you win an entire event. It was so close in Poe's favor. We thought in the middle of that set that he was going to go ahead and win and have a reset, but Fixel said otherwise and showed dominance with that scythe. Look at these replays, man.
That turnaround was insane. Like, he was an entire stock behind, and then he just didn't get hit anymore. He stopped getting hit. He just said he just completely refused to get hit a single time, and he was able to make such a beautiful recovery in that final game. I'm gonna have to see that again on the replay. Man, dominance, showing complete dominance. But I also gotta say, probably at that point, probably some nerves coming up from Poe as well, right?
Yeah. And I think he kind of realized, like, oh, I'm in game number 5. This is a very big deal. He actually swapped over to Axe for a lot of that game rather than his cannon that was working. So I think that was a major influencer in that reversal from FXL as well. And, looking at FXL's Twitter recently too, and seeing like, okay, he got his revenge in the winners finals, beating Comr, and now having to face Poe. He's definitely been waiting to go ahead and win this event there, and that's the way to do it, man. That Scythe gameplay was phenomenal. The reversal that we saw was phenomenal as well with that Scythe gameplay, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of Fixel in the future in the MENA scene as being one of the top 3 contenders at this rate. So with that being said, though, Polly, that was a crazy set, man. That was a crazy set. That was a crazy tournament.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at the Twitters here. I was waiting to see if there's any posts coming out of those Brawlhalla players like, hey, I feel this way or whatever else. But props to Fixel, man. And
of course,
showing his gameplay.
As you mentioned, got the gold at the trial of Comr, then got 3rd at Winter Championship and winning now. I mean, Fixel might be cementing himself as one of the kings of MENA.
Yeah, and he's been playing a lot. I mean, he's been playing not just in MENA events, but he's also been playing a lot in SEA events, in Europe events. He's playing across countries to make sure his skill level is improved, and we're seeing a lot of that skill set really kicking in play. So props to him, and And I think we're going to see a lot of really good things out of Fixel going forward. I think we're going to see a lot of really good things coming out of Poe, out of Comr. I think those players we're going to be seeing a lot of going forward. And Fixel just had a really good read on Poe and Comr with allowing them to over-aggress and him being able to punish.
Yeah, and all three of them, as you mentioned, looking forward to seeing them even more in the future. It has been a pleasure, but of course, this is only the start. The Spring Championship has only but begun. We're gonna get NA, EU, SA for this weekend. Next weekend, we're gonna have 2v2. So you guys, you definitely want to go on over, check out brawlhalla.com/schedule. Make sure that you get to see all of the upcoming tournaments. If you haven't, register for the 2v2 if you intend on doing so. You don't want to be one of those guys that miss out just the day of. And yeah, we're gonna be here for the rest of the weekend. I'm looking forward to it. My name has been Paulie, and I've been joined by AJ. We've had a blast, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
See you guys on the flip side.